So if you see this in the future, you will know. Oh no, Martin's out. Oh, we're doing Martin. We'll do Martin. Martin's live. Martin's actually citing some books, unlike Alan. Things are going really well for Martin at the moment.
No, D'Angelo, bro. See, D'Angelo is my bro. He's my fucking awesome bro. He brings me stuff. Yeah, important stuff, priority. So, D'Angelo, met him a few times.
Send him a chat. I'm just going to say big ups.
He knows. He's from Britain land, yeah, where I'm supposed to be.
Squirrel snipers in their chat.
I'm an international child of the world. Yeah, I'm not from any certain country. At this moment, I identify with being Texan and a cowboy.
You're Welsh.
I think, I was definitely a cowboy, although this is a farmer's life. I think I was a cowboy in a previous life.
He's on holiday in America.
Like a proper cowboy, though, Not like these fucking gunfight the OK Corral fuckers, yeah? I mean, fucking thousands. I had a Gatling gun.
In a former life, he had a Gatling gun now. It's not that long ago.
So Jesus, as you can see in the picture for my
2 lives ago,
actually invented the Walkmans. He invented music too. Yeah. We wrote the Bible because we manifested this place. But they hijacked.
Jesus didn't invent music.
They hijack consciousness, yeah, with icky vibes. They want people thinking big wank about nothing at all. So most people are just talking about nothing.
Oh, Trisha was on. Hey, shit, I'm supposed
to say. They don't know what they say because the reality...
I didn't react to my fucking card react as well. I want to watch the cards. The Trisha did the cards. I want to watch the cards and react to it. I want to do that. How long is that going to take? What time is it? It's 10 o'clock. Maybe we finish with this. Maybe we finish with that instead. This is Martin. He's not in very good quality today because he's on holiday in America. But Martin has managed to leverage the flat earth movement into his bread and butter and daily life. His grift is talking about flat earth. You know how Alan goes on about the Watts case? Martin goes on about flat earth. Is much more personable than Alan. Martin's a nice chap that you could hang out with, but he does talk a load of old shit on the internet. You do have to sort of subscribe and pay money. He's not pushy with the money, but he did at one point. He said, "I'm not earning." He put a community post out that literally it was a cross, angry beg, and it said, "You're not giving me enough money. I might as well not do this." And they were like, "Oh, here, have some money." And he's managed to leverage his way in with some Americans who do the flat earth as well. And he's now going on holiday in America with his YouTube money. It's going quite well from him. He's getting upwards of 8,000 views on stuff. Some of these, he'll range between 5 and 20,000 views on an episode at the moment. Well, maybe less than 20,000. What about on the lives? Yeah, no, between 5 and 20. Between 5 and 15. No, between 5 and 20, yeah. He does quite well out of this. And what he's doing is he's talking fucking bollocks to confused people. And I think it's really underhand and quite bad. I don't think he even really believes in it. I don't know if he really believes in it. It's all this against the Matrix, come out of the Matrix. It's all that stuff. He's got a video with Archaics. He's there with Archaics now. He's holidaying with Archaics. They're mates. That's where he is now, live in Texas.
You get little inklings. It's like, I just had deja vu. What the fuck was that? I've been here before. I was like, no shit, you've been here before. Exactly, I've been here before. I'm guessing I fucked up and got it wrong. It's like, yeah, you got fucked up and got it wrong. See, I don't think there's any room for error right now. It's like if you're carving a marble statue. Don't fuck that shit up at this moment in time, because there's a reset coming. Okay? You've had plenty of warning about getting spiritually aligned. But plenty of warning about getting yourself together. Now, you need to sort this out inwardly. You sort yourself out, that exterior world out there magically fixes because it's you. And that's what we got to do. This, we got to run away because they're going to get us mentality has been proven over and over again in the last few years to not really be a safe mode. Okay.
So he can talk, and he can talk for hours, and it's just like drivel. And though he doesn't, like I said, though he doesn't directly beg so hard, sometimes he does. But what Martin's got is he's got PayPal, he's got a book on Amazon, and he does meetup groups where you buy tickets. He does stuff like that, and you can also buy pen drives like this. And he's put all his pictures on them, of stuff he's got off the internet, and that's 50 quid. And he's got his grift going. This isn't just for nothing. This pays his way. Otherwise, he lives in a shabby council house in Wales. So this pays his way. But we're not going to watch an extended Martin now. Although I was detracting Martin before I was detracting Alan. So like Martin was my first find, so to speak, on the detractor front. But yeah, he's in bad quality because he's in Texas. His internet's not very good for some reason. So maybe we don't watch Martin now.
Double shit, and nobody can be bothered.
I'll tell you what he does. He makes really fucking good shorts as well, like really fucking weird shorts. Obviously, when he's on holiday in America, there's quite a lot of holiday America shorts. It's less flat Earth stuff, but like he does some of my autodidactic. He's coming to social, right? Oh fuck, man! Autodidactic's the worst. He's like trying to start a cult in he's out in Australia, autodidactic, and he's trying to start a cult basically out in the woods. Like. My favourite sort of this is my favourite sort of Martin. This one here, this is my favourite.
They doing yoga, keeping fit, and trying to levitate. Check this out. Start with the lotus position. Then we need to balance ourselves off the floor for a little while. Okay. Now if I take my arms away and I stay there, we've cracked it. Okay. Okay. It happened once. I stayed up for a few seconds when I was younger. Okay, but I was a lot lighter then. Okay. Are you practicing this at home? Flat Earth British yoga. Keeps you way fit, guys. Okay. Okay. Right, I'm going to take my arms away. And I'm going to stay there, guys, okay? Maybe a split second. I levitated there. What do you think? Oi, oi, Flat Earth British. Flat firms. Thumb drive update. Thumb drives. Now I've been loading images, okay, onto thumb drives to sell. 30,000 images only. It's been updated. I've been doing this all morning, and now I can get up to 45,000 images on a 64 gig hard drive, which I'm selling for £40. Now, people have purchased them, but their addresses have not gone into the PayPal. So if you have purchased the 7,100 books drive, there's one or two of you, Sammy and somebody else, who has some sort of event. Oi, oi. Welcome to Texas. I'm staying in rural Texas, in literally the middle of nowhere. So check where I'm staying. Really good. Tunes, Moloko. Okay.
He's good, isn't he? When I first got into it, he was doing a conference in Britain. And he was like not doing as well as he's doing now. Like it's actually gone up and up for him since I was following him. But like,
Oi, oi, Flat Earth Britisher, Martin Liedtke in Cardiff city centre with the globe lighter. You can see David there.
So,
and there's Sven and David.
This is the Globe Lie Tour, and they went around Britain, a few cities in Britain, this shabby group, sort of saying the globe is a lie, the earth is flat, on a tour.
Who's red pilling? Let's go and have a look at David red pilling. So it's been fun. I've red pilled loads of people, surreptitiously.
And they start like I will give him his credit, right? Like, it was going before I sort of found him on YouTube, but since I found him, he set up like a tour of the UK where he didn't have to spend any money because he just turned up. Well, he had to get his travel and whatever, but he turned up and then they walked around in the street. They didn't go he was like, I'll show you around the tour, the Flat Earth tour of Lincoln, and I'll just walk around the street with you. So like he got money for walking around the street with people, and then he's leveraged that into like he's written his book and he's done his conference, his Flat Earth British conference, and now he's doing his Flat Earth pen drives and going to like he's gone one up from this, hasn't he? He's in America now on holiday, so and he's also on this Tartaria bollocks as well, that fake history and history's fake and all this sort of stuff. Talks a lot of weird bollocks, and that's what gets people into watching him and buying his shit, which is weird.
Oi, oi, flat firms. So my son, who's Lawrence Liedtke, who's over there, say hi, Lawrence. was telling me, don't watch the new Jeepers Creepers movie. It's 10 types of shit. So I thought I'd investigate to see if this was true. And it was true. It was 10 types of shit. Don't watch it. But in the first 10 minutes, Flat Earth is mentioned. Basically, this guy's telling her about Jeepers Creepers being a real thing, not a myth. And she's saying, yeah, like Flat Earth. But Jeepers Creepers was real, as is the Flat Earth. Check it out.
Videos are always shaky and murky, never crisp and clear.
It's old. The creeper only comes back every 23 years.
And the Earth is flat. Nazis are camped out on the moon. Elvis lives. The Apollo landing was faked.
Your precious science doesn't have all the answers.
Conspiracy theories have no answers.
Good short, yeah. His son is marginally better than Martin. His son works on, fixes up an old boat. And has some sort of skills, like engineering skills. This will be my I've got this boat.
Right, on board.
That's his son in the back, and his son does all the stuff, like, you know, he fixes up the engine and does sort of stuff like that. So he seems reasonable, but also a little bit scary. And you wouldn't want to be in a van in the middle of the night with him, really. Here's Martin with his balaclava on.
This is a Tatarian Liberation Army survival tip. Oi, oi, all. Flat thumbs. Happy New Year to you all. So I've put an interesting community message out today concerning how many people think this is a simulation we live in. Interesting.
So that's Martin. But yeah, we're not doing him now, are we? Or are we? Well, he's live, and do I want to live, you know, that's the thing, is sometimes catching him live when I'm live doesn't always happen, but the fact he is live now makes me think that I should be, you know, taking the opportunity. But on the other hand, I do kind of want to finish soon. But what I do want to do before, like, maybe it's nearly, I don't know. Maybe what I want to do though is to watch the cards and react to that. I mean, that's on my list of things to do. Trisha read my cards, and I could watch the reading and then give a react to it. I just don't know if I'm in the right frame of mind for it, if that makes sense. But
earlier, Giganticus, good to see you, man. Chris Marsden's in the house, and Kathleen's in the house, and CJ. Right, share this out, do whatever. Let's not think about all the weird, crazy things that go on the internet, okay? Let's just send out our love and think that people will get well.
I'm in the house.
And there will be no more, like, super craziness anymore on the internet, and all will be well, okay? And people won't be, like, you know, sucked into any strangeness and doing any strangeness.
That's
and
what you're doing.
Any strangeness. Do you get me? Keep away. Come to Flat Earth British, yeah, and all the good places that are to go still on the internet. Yeah, fuck that digital life. Be a guy.
I mean, Martin does do a good, like, lead. He is a good community lead. Like, he, like, you know, the community, his personable character, it works all right, but he does end up having run-ins with some people. So
yes, bro, I know David's been on this, you know, with his beautiful family. He's been like homeless in South Africa and London and West Country and Scotland and every fucking where. People put him up and that, but he's no fixed base. But it's probably the best, because if you sit there, if you get in like a council building or something, Dave, they got you. They got your ass. This is the thing. They got you.
But then you've also got somewhere to live.
And you know you can't fuck off. And they come in with the gaslighting and the weird shit that they fucking do. Especially in Britain. Cunts hate their people in Britain. The government hates their people. They despise us. Oh, they look after a lot of people in Britain, just not the people from Britain.
Oh, there we go. He's also, I forgot, he's also quite right-wing and racist. He brings up the Daily Mail a lot.
No. Okay, nobody say anything derogative about Santos or Santos Effect. Okay, we're gonna send him love, guys, and hope he gets better with all of this. All right, guys.
Who's Santos?
Anyone invested and thinks, oh, they likes to see a good man fall, you can fuck off, because I don't want to see that. I want to see this.
Obviously, one of them's having a schism.
And that's what it is. And I don't
Who's
like
Santos?
that element of people like loving it, like they're going to slow down to watch a fucking car crash.
That's me, Martin. That's exactly what I'm doing, but I wouldn't do it for a normal person. But for someone that touts bollocks on the internet and rips people off and grifts people for money to be having a problem. Like, you know, for a flat earther who, I don't know if their heart's in it, but they fucking try and make money off people on the internet who are confused, by people who try and delude the confused masses to be more confused for their own personal benefit, yeah, I will. So just give me a quick Santos flat earth debunks. No particular Santos flat earth has come up. I thought, you know, flat earth dies in rocket crash. A California man who said he wanted to fly to the edge of outer space has died. That was a while ago. But because there's not a lot of mileage in the flat earth argument, because it's obviously provably wrong, they moved to this other thing called Tartaria, where they said the earth is fake, and it's like a more biblical sort of flat earth, and it says that the basically history is fake, and there was a mud flood and it covered everything, and it's just all a load of bollocks anyway. Yeah, like, but I can't find this Santos. It's a shame.
He's done too much for truth. He's walking millions and that. And if he's got a few issues and he hates the fucking globe towns, let him carry on. Yeah. See on YouTube like you're all, but don't be fucking dishing him in my shit ever.
Don't know what he's talking about. It's a shame, really. I should follow it more closely.
Because you don't do that, guys.
He had a row with a woman called Jade, and that was a real good time for me. I was doing their body language analysis, and they both did a video, and like, I was looking at both. Like, he did a video and she did a video, and it was like good stuff for me to be able to talk about.
We're a place of love and understanding, or understanding. That's why this thing works, guys.
The problem is, Martin, I understand you too much to love what you're doing. That's the problem.
I've been here for so long. Yeah? We're not doing... Battery's exhausted. Let's have a look at you.
That's me.
Stay there, don't go away.
I'm here.
It's time for a pipe with me, mind you. So...
He knows who I am. Dying for a pint with him.
Battery exhausted. AKA Ganja Kid. So, you're really smart and you're really good.
Fuck, this is too good to be true. This is too good to be true. I'm a bit late, I'm a bit behind, so he's talking to me and I'm a bit behind, but let's see.
Analysing people. Really talented at it. All of your views about like the shit that just went on 2 years ago and, you know, globe matters and all of that has a lot to be desired, but each to their own. You spent like too much time watching me, like 3.5 hour, 4 hour posts, you know, decoding my life.
He knows exactly what I've done. Interesting, because he never talked about me explicitly, but same as Alan, the first attack back is that my content is too long. Okay.
You were wrong on a lot of things, but
But Martin, you do make some very long videos yourself.
Like I said, I don't give a fuck. I've used them all, or you know, say what you want. But in a lot of points, she was bang on. I'm really on the point as well. So I was like, I half like this guy now. You could just stop going on about the flat Earth and stuff, because you know I'm a bit touchy about that.
Right. What he means there is that when I attacked Jade, or attacked, like when Martin did his stuff on the internet, I've said my piece about what I think. You know, I'm not. Like, me and Martin could actually go on a stream together. Like, this is the truth of it. Me and Martin could go on a stream together. Like, we wouldn't have to be argy-bargy. Like he said, have a pint with him. I could talk to him like a human being. And although I disagree, and like, I would say what I think about what he's doing, he doesn't have to lose his shit, and nor do I. Like, I don't have to beat him over the head with it over and over again. We can still talk. So this is good. Like, this is the start of dialogue, yeah? And it's interesting. What did he just say?
No. You just stop going on about the flat Earth.
Just stop. Yeah. What it was interesting was him and Jade had this problem. So I analysed Martin. I'm talking about Martin. Jade pops up and she's a fucking chuffer. Like, Jade was like a full chuffer, and it's not like I was backing Martin. But if I see like there's a problem between Jade and Martin, and I wasn't just there going to say, right, Jade's correct, Jade's great, Martin, you're for it now, I'm with Jade. No, I just came out and said, like, Jade's being a skank to Martin. Like, you know, Jade's a chuffer. So like he liked that. He said, right, yeah, good, astute observation. He was able to agree with what I was saying about Jade, and therefore understands what I'm saying about him might also be fairly accurate. And again, I keep repeating it, Martin is not, like, he's a personable, nice character. If he wasn't trying to grind people for money about flat Earth, and he, as he said, don't poke at him about that because he doesn't like that. If it wasn't for that, everything else fine. But we do have that problem, don't we? There's that little problem. That's where our content juxtaposes. That's how I'm into this
stuff, because you know I'm a bit touchy about that. because I'm flat earth. That makes me, it's the MK Ultra, yeah? I got mind control, guys, yeah? And now I'm like, I get all like really pissed off. It was t-shirt flat earth. It's like, what? But having said that, I think you're a jolly good chap, and I really like you.
Oh,
Okay? Having said that.
bless. You see? You see how different it is when you're not a fucking complete mental narcissist? Do you see how this man, right? Credit to Martin, right? 100% credit to Martin. I did not go in his chat and give him any shit. I just said, I'm in the house. He was reading out who was in the house. I said I was in the house. He's aware of what we've done. He's not come the fucking big un. He's not come the big cock. He's actually pointedly stated things that I agree with. I totally agree. I think we could get on. You know, I think we could have a dialogue. Obviously, we disagree on the flat earth point, and don't get going on that because he doesn't like it, because I think I'm pulling a bit of the, you know, curtain away. Maybe there's a point of issue to discuss, or maybe, you know, me and Martin could do, like I said with Alan, right? With Alan, me and Alan, I said, let's do a film review or a book review, and I'm not allowed to just have a row with you about anything. We just do the book review, yeah? Like, me and Martin could disagree on this flat earth thing. We could disagree on his position on the YouTube as to whether he's grifting people or whether it's fair enough that they're crowdfunding his lifestyle through this conversation about flat earth. Like, we could disagree on that, and we could still do something together on a stream that might be popular and interesting for the audience, where I'm not going to just be like, fuck you though, you're fucking doing this, and he's not gonna, like, you see what I mean? Because we're human beings, yeah? Like, this could go well, this could be fun. Like, I'm looking forward to, like, debunking the flat earth. As he said, we don't want to go there. Okay, and I understand. But at some point, I would like to have some quite difficult conversations with Martin about what he's doing. Yeah, and I don't think it's easy for him to publicly state some of these things, or like maybe it's hard to. Maybe he could explain to me why what he's doing is not what I think it is and why it's good. You know what I mean, or whatever. I think me and Martin actually, like me and Steve. Steve of the Dead could go and hang out with Martin, take the cameras, make a bit of a mini documentary about Martin, and as he would accept, be independent and make our, but not be there to kill him and to drag him over the coals. As he said, I have taken apart some of the ideas about the flat earth and dismantled them and talked, well, you know, he's going to say, no, don't get us started on that. But as people, we could still do something. And there's still, like with Louis Theroux, who went to go and speak to people who didn't necessarily agree with, I would be able to put on the video, these are Martin's opinions and theories. I don't agree with them. But it's up to you, the audience, to make your decision. And I'm not going to, like, I try not to be too, obviously I'm biased in my feelings or whatever, but if I was to make the media in my streams, and if Martin was on them, I would allow him his ability to represent himself, if that makes sense. And allow you, the audience, the intelligence to make up your own mind. That's why we don't ban people in chat. That's why we have free and independent thoughts and whatever going on. And of course, I'm quite heavy on my own streams about my opinion and my side of things because they're my streams. But if we're making a piece of media together, especially like I said, with the cameras, with Steve of the Dead, like a little mini doc, Scott meets Martin, Scott and Steve meet Martin. Like that could be lined up in the future. We could do that together and make a really interesting YouTube video, and then a live stream to follow where we do like a little bit of an interview, ask the audience, super chats come in, Martin can have some of the monies. You know, we intend to pay our guests. Even though I think, you know, he doesn't deserve the monies for talking shit about flat earth, he does deserve the monies for putting himself in a position where he's an interesting focal point for our media. Like, that's fine. Even if I don't agree with him, like, I think it's fine. So look at how this is, like, I just want to congratulate Martin and give him a clap here, because he's not fucking, like, with Alan was a massive disagreeable narcissist. So I ripped his arse. But with Martin, he's not a massive disagreeable narcissist, and we don't have to rip arse. Like, this is well done, Martin. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
So there. Good, isn't it?
I mean, I hope that's how he feels, and I hope he's not just said that and kept his real feelings in because he doesn't want to explode in anger on the camera.
Because you're smart. Okay.
So he said I'm smart. Okay, the smart bit, I'm not going to get overblown with the compliment. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm so smart. Great, Martin thinks I'm smart. Like, I don't care that, like, I don't want to be massaged with a compliment, but I like the way he's, well, I've explained it.
That over with. That's one of my, I I'm not even sure if he's trolling me. That's the thing. When I watch his video, I'm not even sure if he's trolling me.
Exactly. I'm not trolling you. I'm not a troll. I'm a social commentator. I'm interested in psychology and behaviour, and I call things as I see them, and I don't like people trying to make a cheap buck off vulnerable people. If your people that you were talking about and to and with and all that weren't so vulnerable, because I consider the people who believe in the flat earth to be maybe vulnerable, then no, he thinks I'm a smart ass. Yeah, that's true, a bit of a smart ass, but you would if I was taking the piss out of you online. Like, you would feel like that because I'd be taking the piss out of you, so you'd be like, oh, you smart ass. Anyone would. So I have to accept that. And I try and make jokes, so that makes it worse. But I'm not directly trying. I haven't picked someone to be mean about. Like, I've got a point, like a sort of social, ethical point for me. It's the same with Darkside Phil. It's the same with Alan. It's the same with anyone on the internet who ultimately is looking for their audience to give them money for something that isn't worth the real money, isn't really worth the value, is a bit of a smokescreen and an illusion. And then, it's a bit of a con. That's my problem, is the con. Because I see that as unethical. But other than that, and I tell you what as well, not just unethical, but because I'm making content, unethical is one thing. There's loads of unethical things, but this is a really interesting dynamic that plays out over time, almost like a soap opera that's happening live in front of us with real people on the internet that I'm able to talk about and be part of. So I don't know what you'd call that. I studied sociology at university. I studied psychology at university. I did not get a degree. I understand a lot of the anti-social or anti-capitalist agenda points that are being raised here by the community, not just Martin, and I agree with a lot of them, but I don't agree with how far it's gone in certain different ways. So there's a lot of strange overlap as well. I just find it a really wonderful place to be and enjoy talking about it. So I look forward to having future conversations with Martin on a stream. Again, we've got a growing list now of people that I'm going to get lining up with the help of the mods to be on shows with me, like to do podcasts every now and then and explore. And then once we've done that, we certainly with people like Martin, we can go to he's in America now. I don't know about Martin. Me visiting Martin in America doesn't make sense because Martin he isn't from America or anything. That's not his story. But certainly we can do a bit of Louis Theroux mini doc, stuff with Martin. Like, Alan just totally threw everything up the wall. Like, I know I'm bringing Alan into this, and Martin is probably watching this thinking, who's Alan? But there are other people that we talk about on our show sort of thing, aren't there? And Martin, instead of doing what Alan did, which is to throw it all up the wall and be a tosser, Martin has just done the most sensible, grounded, it's like a good PR move, but I actually believe Martin operates more from the heart than the head a lot of the time. I do think he's got that, that in him. I think he is also smart. Maybe cunning is a different word, but I don't think he's operating in a cunning fashion here. I think he just has these feelings and he's just saying them, and I think they're okay because he's not like Alan, not a massive narcissist like Alan, so he's managed to handle this much, much finer.
So I'm like, it's like he actually likes me.
I'm not
even sure.
Yeah.
But they are troll videos, but in a half.
But yeah. Oh, this is so perfect. I feel like I'm living my own daydream now, because yes, I watched, I don't know if anyone's noticed what is going on here, because I need to just quickly show you Super Chuffer. You probably don't all know this because a lot of people joined because of the Nicola Bully, along that thing. But before that, before Nicola Bully, I was talking about these other people on my streams, essentially. So if I scroll down a bit, I've got this woman who does homeschool and she talks about the flat earth. She's a nutter. Where's Martin? Here's Martin. He did say foreigner. He did say something rude about a foreigner, so maybe that was a bit... I went pitch severe on that. That's Jade, the one who was lying about him and making up a funny story. This is Martin's conference. So I did a full stream about the Flat Earth British Conference. I need to take a quick bathroom break, so this is perfect because you can watch a bit of this. This is me not trolling, but you know what I'm doing. You know me and what's going on, don't you? So this is me trolling, not trolling.
Just to hold ourselves spiritually, okay? Remember who we are, okay? Remember that all of these lies are just distractions, so you don't wake up to your true human potential, okay? To be able to manifest your dreams, manifest what you want in this place, in this illusion.
Weird. Martin is here saying to the the crowd, the assembled crowd that have paid £35 a ticket, that the reason, it's one of these selling you your hopes and dreams things, look. The reason that, you know, the life that you're living is not as good as you want it to be is because of all this conspiracy shit. And that now you found it out, you're going to be able to manifest whatever you want in life, and it's going to be great. It's a little bit on the toes of, what's it called? The law of attraction, which is just that you sort of say what you want and it appears. And the funny thing about it is if you focus on your goals and state them out clearly and can draw, you know, clear defined lines around them, you actually start to focus on your goals and clearly identify a path to achieving them. So some people that wake up in the morning and every time they wake up they say, this is what I want to achieve, go out in the day and take a step forward to achieving it. It's not magic, it's not woo magic, it's just that if you do the thing, you do it, and if you don't, you... So that's me complaining about this a while ago. In the chat there, look, just snips. I wasn't as popular back then. This has had 330 views a year ago. Like, we've come a long way in a year. Come a fucking long way in a year. But yeah, trolling him but not trolling him. So like Martin has perceived it. I love that expression on his face, is because I do know the man a little bit, having watched a lot of his videos. As he says, I do 4-hour videos on him, but he does like 5-hour videos on the internet. So it's like, you know how this goes. But that his little face of confusion, I see his little confused face. I'll tell you what, the other thing that me and Martin, he smokes a lot of weed, Martin does, and so do I. So the other thing is that Martin could literally sit in this room with me and do a podcast in this literal room. I would have him in the house. I would pass him the reefer. He wouldn't have to bring the weed. I've got weed that I can give him to smoke. He would like that. Like, we would do a banging podcast in here. I promise you we would. Like, he could talk all the nonsense he wants, as long as I'm allowed to say, but hang on, Martin, what do you think about this? And then once we've said it, we're not going to go at each other's throats. We'll just leave it at that, you know. But maybe, you know, it could be a bit of 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Like, we could, you know, complement each other in our differences, and maybe we could talk about other things though, like, and really get into deep conversations where I allow a bit of space for his ideas, he allows a bit of space for my poo-pooing them, and we get somewhere. Or maybe we could just leave all those funny ideas behind and just do something a bit different that doesn't involve, like, maybe we could show the world that people who have differences can actually get on by doing a podcast together about something completely unrelated to all this nonsense, where we just get on. Do you know what I mean? Like, in a way that me and Alan never could. I can with other people, but Alan never could. I see what you're saying in chat. Look, the Queen Mother was a lizard and all this. Like, yeah, exactly. Martin could come out with all that, and I'd be like, what? It'd make a really interesting episode of a podcast for sure. But also, I think, like, let's say, for example, I don't know. There will be topics that we can overlay, that we can say, look, I don't disagree with you on this, and we can both talk about this and have fun. Like, I mean, I play video games. I know it's mine's probably not going to be into that. He's got that boat. Like, you know, maybe there's something there. Like, there's way that we could. Martin has better bud for sure. So Slick Willy D. You know. But there's something. There's something. Scott and Martin go to Amsterdam, and we enjoy smoking weed and talking about weed, and then we don't have to argue at all. What about that? You know, we could build towards it. We could start with a little podcast, trying different weed together and smoking it, doing whatever, having a chat. We could build towards it. Between the idea that, like, I've got now a reasonable sized audience, Martin's got a reasonable sized, neither of us massive, but we could go at each other head to head, like confrontational, and that would be, you know, I haven't been too mean to him in the past. I've been a bit edgy with him, you know, on my detraction, but as he says, not trolling him, not being deliberately mean. So we could move forward together and build something with both audiences having a bit of this and a bit of that. But ultimately, Squirrel Sniper's in his chat and in our chat. We could have friends and we could move forward. Like, it would be good to see. One of the things that I thought was really good about H3. Did we make it? Did we make it? Am I still in session? I think we did, didn't we? I think we made it. We're still in session, yeah. Sorry, a little bit of an OBS error. What it was for some reason, the stream key changed while I was streaming. I had to repaste the stream key in very quickly. But we're back, and let me just get this picture back up in the mainframe. In the mainframe, in Firefox, I have this. And this is a podcast with two different people. So the one on the left, the one on the right are two quite different people. They had an argument. I'm not going to go into any of the details about any of that. They had an argument. That she was a guest on the show. They had an argument. And since then, they actually made a podcast called Frenemies. Like, they did a series of them like this. Now, this looks really great, doesn't it? One pink, one black. You can see, like, it's very clever, isn't it? This is actually not just, they're not in two different rooms. This is set in one room, and she's got a pink curtain and he's got a black curtain, and they've got a table they've painted with pink and black. That's real set. I think it's wonderful. And they don't have the same take on stuff, and they don't get on with everything, but they talk about stuff together. They managed to get through it. It made good content, in my opinion. Even though I didn't watch lots of it, I think the concept is striking. And I really, like, when you think about all the different podcasts that have been through YouTube over the years and all the different spins people have put on them, this just really, really works. It's visually very appealing. The two different characters mean that it doesn't matter, whatever they're talking about, you kind of get a vibe from one or the other, and there's some conflict to talk things through in a different way. You know, they're not afraid to be themselves. I think it just really is a striking, excellent idea. So I commend them for that. And I think me and Martin, what I should have done when he was talking about me is be in his chat then, shouldn't I, and replied, but I've left it now. I'm now 10 minutes behind live, so let's get back on with listening to him talk about it. But I've just, you know, I'm so I mean, he could still shit the bed here, couldn't he? He could go on and call me loads of names, but even that wouldn't shit the bed really with me. But it's so different and refreshing to see someone that's not a chuffer like Alan react in such a different way to the idea that I've been making videos about them, isn't it?
He actually likes me.
Yeah, I do. I do actually like you. I think you are a very, very redeemable human being, Martin. I think the things that you're doing that I take objection to, stand ethically opposed to, I think you could just abandon them overnight and actually just make good content that doesn't rely on selling people strange ideas. I think you could, like, I think you've got qualities. I think you're personable, like as a media producer as well. I think you've learned a lot, and I think that if we moved away, like you said, don't touch the flat earth stuff, I'm touchy about it. I think if we put it in the back drawer and said, okay, for a while we're not going to talk flat earth, and you don't have to like prove anything to anyone on the internet about the earth being flat or strange ideas, and instead let's see if we can't think up a different idea for some content where you take the idea that you are personable and people like you and you've already built up a bit of a following and apply it to something more broad that people could actually like, without this crusade for this anti-matrix narrative shift. And I'm not saying oh, Scott's a shill so he's going to try and stop Martin from fighting the power. No, I'll fight the power too. Like, together we can both fight the power, maybe, in a real way, like, actually, maybe. Do you know what I mean? We're both on the same tip on that. Me and Martin are both on the same tip on that. You know, neither of us are voting Tory, I'll tell you that. Like, so, Martin could actually apply himself to something. Like, he could have this, and most YouTubers who are doing what Martin's doing should think what I'm saying very carefully. This should be for Martin a stepping stone to somewhere brighter. You know, he's halfway there at the moment. Things are going well for him, but I don't think that in the long term it's sustainable to be a flat earth conspiracy theorist. Or maybe it is, maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe Alex Jones is still going, you know, maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe he's on the way to being the next Alex Jones. Alex Jones made a lot of money selling supplements and weird shit to people, didn't he? So maybe Martin's on the way to becoming a millionaire and I'm the idiot. But even if he became a millionaire, I might still not be an idiot. I just think, yeah, interesting stuff. I do think Martin is redeemable. I do think he's a nice person who's likable, has a lot of good qualities. I think he's kind. I think honestly, Martin is kind, compassionate, and I was going to say honest. I think he likes to speak truth, even if he's confused about what the truth is or how to express it. I think he's also a bit obstinate, a bit stubborn, a bit set in his ways, and I think some of the things he talks about are a little bit right-wing and a little bit Daily Mail influenced. You know, maybe I'm just judging someone on first impressions on the internet, but I do think Martin's got a lot of redeemable qualities. I hope I'm not saying that about someone who has some dark past that I know nothing of. You know, I hope when I say Martin's kind, he doesn't turn out to be like a child murderer or something, like, obviously. But no, like, you know, my read on him, which is a fair read, and the same as him. Like, he's saying it about me, like, he thinks I'm trolling him, but he probably quite likes me as well in some ways, because the things I've said about Jade, he probably quite agreed with.
Plus you're smart. Okay. So that's that over with. That's one of my I'm not even sure if he's trolling me. That's the thing. When I watch his video, I'm not even sure if he's trolling me because I'm like, oh, it's like he actually likes me. I'm not even sure. But they are troll videos. But in a half, I kind of like this, this man, and his flamboyance. One of your words, isn't it? And you kid. Anyway, it's good though. We're all here in one place at one time in this weird ass reality. You may make the fucking most of it, Looking forward to seeing you again in San Diego in 2 weeks. Me too.
And you see how he's able to move on from it and not hold it to like with Alan, that would be it now. You couldn't run the rest of the show before Ganji Kid is dealt with and disciplined and dealt with, could you? It'd be stop everything. Martin's able to just take it, make a comment and move on.
Victoria awake. I'm looking forward to loads of packages and then getting down California. Yeah, with some flowers in my hair. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Okay, in San Diego. Okay, come San Diego, the super group of truth. Hit it down hard, San Diego. Maybe that's not a good thing to do. I don't even know anymore. Yeah, it's a Debbie. Good to see you. No, do what?
Total gridlock, man. Just as I say, he veers into racial impressions, but as he says, he doesn't know if it's a good thing to do anymore, so just move on from that.
What? Fuck it. If I feel comfortable and happy doing Mexican accents, I'll fucking do it. Yeah.
If you want, this is where I find it so funny as well. This is the difference again. If you poked at Alan and saying but he's like, well, fuck it, we'll just have a laugh. And okay, I've told you it seems a bit racist. You want to stand by it. It's funny you doing it to me. I find it funny. You want to have a laugh. You are laughing. I'm laughing. We're having fun. No one could be angry about it, can they? Unless you're Mexican, maybe. He is Welsh. He's Welsh. Unless maybe you're Mexican. Maybe the Mexicans aren't having fun. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe we're all having fun. But I wouldn't know because they're kept out by the wall, so that's handy. Yay, Texas. But anyway, he's doing the Mexican thing there in Texas, having fun. He's all right with it. He's fine. Well, I'm fine. I think we should go on a show together, Martin. I think we should do stuff together. I know he's having fun doing stuff in America with his friends out there. So, when he comes back and I'm suggesting maybe we go Amsterdam together. Although maybe weed's legal in Texas, or maybe I should just come out and join him in Texas for a bit. Smoke some Texas weed. I don't know. As long as there's weed around, me and Martin will both be fine, and then everything else can flow.
I'm having a selfish moment. I feel like making me happy for a minute, okay? Campbell, autodidactic. We love you, Campbell. We're going to be hanging out.
I hate autodidactic. Whereas Martin's personable and friendly and stuff, autodidactic is a sick fuck who's trying to create a strange harem in the woods. I don't like autodidactic at all. He's a real strange nutter. I've done videos on him too. He's a real strange one, he is. He's a bit of a creepy one. Really bad.
Celebrate good times. Come on. Better come on, Colby. You're in a new super group, okay? And we're going to practice a dance to do as well.
If you're watching, I could see people in chat saying it. If you're watching, please note, my quality's quite good. Martin's is quite bad because he's broadcasting from America, so I'm not going to diss him for that. I'm going to say you're managing to do a stream while you're away on holiday in America. Okay, the quality's bad, but you're away in rural America, well done.
Do that now. Practice his dance. We're going to be all doing it in a line.
He's got me doing it. I'm hypnotised.
Oh, Greece. Greece is the word.
Greece is the word, is the word, is the word.
Well, maybe not.
Greece is the way we are feeling. We could see me and Martin could jam.
So goes. Anyway, let's share some stuff. Campbell, good to see you. Glad you're stateside. You literally going to see you next week. Awesome beings. Okay.
So he's going to go on and talk about stuff. He's going to get onto this. Jesus with the mushroom hat.
Being the son of God, he's going to get the best drugs as well, isn't he?
Did you hear that? See, this is why I love Martin. It's because when I'm detracting Martin, right, it goes somewhere. Listen.
Okay. Being the son of God, he's going to get the best drugs as well, isn't he?
What do you mean?
So we can rely on him having a good shroom. Oh, shoot.
We can rely on him having a good shroom. It's just an AI picture of Jesus' Sacred Heart with mushroom on it. But he's turned it into fucking... This is the way Martin does it as well, right? He'll get something off Google. Like, this is an image off some... Like, this is an advert for an iPad case or something. And he's turned it into like a 2-minute conversation about something. That picture will go on the thumb drive as one of the 4,005 or 45,000 pictures that you can buy for 40 quid. It's just a random picture of something. It's like Alan as well, though. He's got this ability to spin it, like to turn it into a conversation out of nothing, and like turn it into proof of some weird. Like, and what I love as well about Martin, like to his credit here, even though he's going to say, "Oh, you're pulling these apart," but he's able to sort of jump around in conspiracy theories and sort of juggle conspiracy ideas, like confetti, maybe, like throw these ideas up and around and pick from one and here's another, and like he's never short of a way of turning something into a bit of an interesting idea. It's the sort of thing that happens when you smoke a bit of weed and have a mad chat about stuff, and then later you would think, well, that was a load of nonsense, wasn't it? I'm glad. I used to think sometimes I should write everything down that happens when I'm on mushrooms, or I should at least record it with a tape recorder. But you do that once, right? You record your mushroom speak on a tape recorder, and you're like, I've just solved quantum physics here. I've just fixed interstellar quantum physics here. I think I've figured it out. And you record it, and then later on you listen to it back, and it's just like gibberish, and you're talking about fucking cakes, and like, you know, it's not what you thought it was at the time. But Martin's got this ability to take a few pictures off Google, and quite a lot of the time they're funny old pictures, and just turn them into sort of some strange, interesting bedtime stories. And it really keeps the nutters captivated. So I'm really like pleased with this.
So there's Jesus there. As you can see, he's got a big phylogaric mushroom on his head. And I'm guessing the Christians don't know they're on about drugs, but there you go. Not that it's a drug, it's an inner technology, but you get my drift. Okay. Okay, excuse me.
Jesus has nothing to do with mushrooms.
Things. And, okay. Being the Son of God, he's going to get the best drugs as well, isn't he? So we're going to rely on him having a good stream. Oh, shoot, excuse me. There I am on the side. Okay, that's good. As long as you can see me. So there he is, Jesus with his hat, and it's a phylogaric mushroom, which you really, you get them everywhere in Britain, in forests and stuff.
With his famous hat. That's a picture of Sacred Heart of Jesus. Look. This is why, I tell you what, AI is a fucking genius tool. Martin's just at the cusp of where this is so genius for Martin. This is such luck for Martin. Jesus Sacred Heart images. Let's have a Sacred Heart of Jesus, a real classic one here. Open image in a new tab. Let's hope it's big. There you go. Look, Sacred Heart of Jesus. Yeah, right. So I'm gonna just quickly screenshot this. I mean, it's a Catholic image, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It's a Catholic symbolic imagery. Jesus, isn't it? And his Sacred Heart. There's all that going on. Right. So let's go in the AI. And let's just quickly upload that image. Jesus screenshot. Doo-dee-dee-doo. Doo-dee-dee-doo-dee-doo. This is a gift for people like Martin. This is now. Right, so now I've got that. I'm going to stay quite strictly close to it, adjust the influence. I want it to look a lot like Jesus, but I'm going to do it in, let's do realistic. And let's have, he has a mushroom hat, mushroom heart, Jesus. Let's just put that, and let's see what it gives me. Is he going to have a mushroom hat? What have we got? We've got Jesus there. It's different. It's very close to the original. No mushroom hat and mushroom heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take down the strength to normal. So it's going to be a bit different. Maybe realistic's a bit different. I like the anime ones. They're my favourites. Let's try anime and create an anime Jesus with a mushroom hat and a mushroom heart. And let's see if we can get... See, now we're getting somewhere, look. See, now I can take that image and I can say, look, I saw this image in a Japanese comic book, and this figure of Sacred Heart Mushroom Jesus is in other cultures. And I can use it as part of my evidence. I've just invented it. It just exists now because I invented it. Let's download that picture. That's going in my pictures bank. Let's try more realistic though. See, what I like about this is if I put realistic and I put statue, stone, granite, right, and I do this, like we might get an image that might, I can't believe they're not on this as well. Or I'm giving them the gifts of the keys to the kingdom here, right? I'm absolutely giving them the keys to the kingdom, because if I can make this image, create an image that looks like stone or granite, then I can say this is a photograph I took from my Egypt holiday, or I found this picture online of a statue and it's a real one. Like if I can make it look realistic on here, let's just bin off all this stuff and let's just put statue, stone, granite and see if it will do me that. Then we're getting somewhere where I can talk a load of shit and I've got pictures that seem to back it up. Like there's a good start. It's a bit too colourful for me, but you know, the more of these weird pictures we can create, that's realistic V2. Where's normal realistic? Maybe there's some way. Figure might be quite realistic. Rock. Carving. Mushroom hat. I'm doing their work for them now. Doing the work of the Flat Earth Society for them. What's that? That's not right. Jesus doesn't look like that to me. But you tinker with this enough and you'll get what you're looking for, I swear. What the fuck? Why am I getting what I'm looking for, I swear? No, listen, I told them I would get what I'm looking for here, I swear. Show me what I'm looking for. Show me a statue of Jesus with a mushroom on it that looks like it's somewhere else in the world, or like that's close as well. I could say, look, they sell these in Himalayan. They're not. It doesn't look real enough. Ancient Egypt. Let's put ancient Egypt, because that's really got to give it a vibe, hasn't it? It can't misunderstand ancient Egypt. Oh. Oh, we're getting somewhere. Jesus on crack. Should I just put Jesus on crack? The funny thing is, if you tell it Elon Musk, it really knows what Elon Musk looks like. See, now that image, you could say, look, I found this in a textbook in Egypt. Like, look, it looks like the Sacred Heart of Jesus. You could all start mixing things in. You know what I'm going for here. You can see what I'm going for. Let's just try Jesus on crack. Let's put Elon Musk on crack. Let's put that, and then let's see if it turns Jesus that we've got into Elon Musk. Because I tell you what, these artificial intelligence things, they know all about Elon Musk. Look, it looks exactly like him. How's it done that? It looks exactly like him. Alan Vinicum. How exactly like Alan Vinicum are we going to get? Not exact. But strangely, it's tried to put a microphone in front of him. In front of him, it's got what looks like a sort of a strange array of equipment on a desk. Almost like a microphone. Let's try that again. It generated not safe for work content, which worries me a little bit, because it could be that there's some content out there on the internet with Alan Vinicum as an actual tag that is not safe for work. Like, what this computer program is doing is it's trawling the internet. It does say it wouldn't include things from the last couple of years, that like it's looking into historic internet, not today's internet up to date necessarily, but it's like, you know, it gives you, if I give it a keyword, like if there was a keyword involved in, like, I don't know, child sex abuse or something, which I shouldn't talk about, but like if there was a keyword like that, let's say Alan's got some photos out there that have got that tagged in Alan Vinicum and it's bad photos, the artificial intelligence will try and create those photos here, because it's just searching the internet, bringing up a picture, using artificial intelligence to try and recreate it. It doesn't know it's not safe for work until the end, where it tells it, hang on, what you've drawn here is not safe for work. It doesn't pass the not safe for work filter, so we're not showing that. So maybe Alan's got some photos out there on the internet that are not safe for work. maybe, because all I asked it for is Alan Vinnicum, and I've got a picture of Jesus, so it shouldn't be a problem. It likes a more thinks Alan's black. Again, this is strange. The strangeness of this picture is there's one person standing sort of over the other. I wonder what pictures it's looking for to create this as source material with simply Alan Vinnicum as the tag. But maybe Alan's throwing it. You know, maybe it's just looking at famous Alans. Maybe Vinnicum is like, maybe it doesn't understand the two words together. It's brought up this man again with the moustache. Like, it likes that man with the moustache. It looks almost Alan-esque from the neck down, though, doesn't it? Very strange. This is it's Jesus as a basis, but it keeps bringing this man up with the moustache. And here there's all these things in front of him. So there's a picture on the internet somewhere that's got a like, you know, I said before it had all the microphone in front of him. There's a picture of this man with the moustache and stuff in front of him like this that it's drawing from. Like, it's using that as source. It's giving us a similar theme. So obviously it's got Christ as its basis, so maybe it's that that's doing it for it. Flowers in this one, and a man with a moustache again. Maybe it's Christ has got a moustache, and maybe that's why it's, you know, using that. We should do some anime ones as well, though. She is a vampire. So Jesus, but with anime filter, and she is a vampire, and this should come out really cool. Anime always does. Look, yes, she looks cross, and this is where I'm doing my which thumbnail is best pictures. It's cool. It's done like a sort of, she's got a setting sun and someone walking into the setting sun on the picture. It's really cool anime. She is a nun, because Jesus, she is a nun. Put that. It would make Jesus into a nun. There you go, look. Jesus is a nun. The anime one's really effective. Yeah, so anyway, where am I? Went on a full dance then. Oh yeah, because of this, because obviously that picture is created in the same way, isn't it? And then they put it on an iPad cover and put it for sale on the internet. And the thing that makes me laugh about it is that Martin finds these pictures on the internet and then uses them on his show. But his show is like, you know, busting the truth narrative, you know, and all that. But where'd you get the picture from? Like Google.
Stuff.
Wait, I should have Googled it. Google Jesus mushroom hat. What's it called? iPad case. There you go. You can buy it for £40 from this website. Do you know what I'm saying? This is why I find it so funny. Look, they put crosses and marks on this one, so you can't, but not on this one. So we've used that one. This one's got an iPad case around it as well. So that's where he's got the picture from, and he will sell that picture on this thumb drive. It will, like I say, he's got loads of pictures he's selling on the thumb drive. Where do you think they came from? Just ripped off the internet. So someone's made this. So you know who's made this? This person's made this. It's like an Etsy shop. They've designed it and they've created it. Yeah. Mushroom Jesus as a throw. That's interesting. Like, it looks like they're making this mushroom stuff and selling it, yeah? Like, maybe that's their original art. Maybe it's not. Maybe they ripped it off themselves, but I'm willing to believe that they've done it themselves. Okay? And then Martin's got it on his show, and he's like, this proves that Jesus was involved in trucks. But I've managed to research and find out where it's really come from. So maybe we could ask Spools and Spores. You know, maybe I could send them an email and say, did you design that? Or was Jesus really involved in drugs and you're breaking the story to us via the method of selling a bedspread like it on a shop that Martin's found on the internet through Google search.
Found 2 in Nottingham Forest, not the football team, the actual forest. There's an old painting of Jesus who's got a Walkman in because he invented the Walkman, and he invented Frank Zappa and the Mothers. That might not be true, but it doesn't matter. And Jesus had 12 disciples as well, didn't he? Yeah, people hanging out with him. His gang, his super group. Jesus had a fucking super group, guys. Yeah. And Judas had really bad press. I don't think that's true. You have to watch Jesus Christ Superstar to appreciate that Jesus was like, wash my feet, give me money, give me stuff. He wanted stuff. He liked stuff. So he sort of was on that thing. Judas didn't think it was a thing. Anyway, it's a long story. You'd have to watch the film. That doesn't make it a reality, by the way. I don't want to upset any religious people at all. But he invented the Walkman. That's one good thing, isn't it? So there you are. You can see that there's a magic mushroom upon a church stained glass window with...
That doesn't look like it's actually on the original stained glass window. This looks like some sort of design. I'll tell you for why. The stained glass in this panel seems to be much more bright, much more vivid, smaller and in much more detail, almost as if this is a picture of a stained glass window or design, and on top of it someone has superimposed another picture of a stained glass window or design just banged on top of it. Don't you think?
Our Lord the Saviour.
But it's evidence and proof.
Psilocybin. Saviour, psilocybin. Anyway, so this inner technology has been denied us, but you know, most people in Britain know that this is around because it grows everywhere, like in our fields and stuff. So most, you know,
you're probably not to eat those mushrooms. They're probably more toxic than psilocybin. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Like Martin says, I do long things about him. He does longer things about this. So, but I like this. This looks good.
Okay, that's going to be a subject that we need to pick apart later on the Illuminati and foiled. Okay, but Jesus gets the best ganja, and it's not like stuff you get in pharmacies in you fucking Mexico. No, this stuff's fucking amazing. I mean, one puff and you're transcending space and time. Okay, 1 second later.
Sorry, Jess. This is probably what you want for your music. This is probably the samples.
We will get to that later. Okay. That's going to be a subject that we need to pick apart later on the Illuminati and foiled. Okay, but Jesus gets the best ganja, and it's not like stuff you get in pharmacies in you fucking Mexico. No, this stuff's fucking amazing. I mean, one puff and you're transcending space and time. Okay, 1 second later, and you're sat there with, I don't know, dusky maidens, sirens, naked sirens, that sort of thing, or whatever you like will manifest. Okay, don't think bad thoughts because you'll manifest them. Yeah, oh, that's your fault, you just got your head eaten. Get the rules going.
Does that mean that people who are like disabled or going through a difficult time or something have in some way thought their way into it and it's their fault? Is that the sort of knock-on follow-on question? I don't want to drag you down there, Martin, but the idea that you would manifest everything and everything just comes to you means that everything's your fault, isn't it then? Like, because you're manifesting it wrong. Don't think bad thoughts. It's a bit like being on a mushroom trip though, because like if you get a downer on a mushroom trip and you start like getting spun out, then it can really ruin things. So just chill, like have fun. Like I tell you what, if Martin was here and we were on a mushroom trip and he said that about Jesus, I wouldn't say to him, "Don't be silly." What I would say is, "Yeah, man, like Jesus probably like wrote the 10 Commandments when he was high, like thou shalt pass the bong, thou shalt not spill the bong, thou shalt." I'd probably do this with him. We'd have a laugh. We'd write 10 Commandments based on that. Like it'd be funny. I know Moses did the commandments, not Jesus, but you know, I'm not going to be pedantic. You see what I'm saying? I'd be all right for a laugh. I think we'd have a laugh.
Super Jesus. Now,
the difference is I wouldn't try and sell this as truth and ask you to pay me money based on this being the truth. But yeah.
Who wants a pasty pussy Jesus? No one. He's going to save you all. So he needs to pack some heat, guys. Yeah, that's claymores, an Abrams tank, and a pair of silver guns out of the movie. I was going to say Pulp Fiction, but I'm feeling more inclined to Romeo and Juliet because that was a particularly special gun, wasn't it? You all know the gun I'm talking about, don't you? The shiny handle, pills. That's all you wanted, Jesus. You want him cool, okay? And you're packing fucking heat. You are feeling very, very sleepy. You are feeling very, very sleepy. Okay. Subscribe to Flat Earth British, Flat Earth British. Okay. You will not say this over and over in your head. Fucking subscribe to Flat Earth British. Come back. That works. Duh. Yeah, all right, fuck off. So this is what the medieval people were up to. They were beating one another up like Punch and Judy.
It's like Monty Python shit.
Okay. This is the Santos effect. That's what happens. There's Queen Elizabeth. She was a bit of a dude.
The Santos effect, that's what happened. I really wish I could find out what happened with this Santos. It sounds like Santos kicked off. Had a fight. What's going on? Who is Santos and why? You see, not following the Flat Earth story close enough, I've missed... This is where you can see these communities from an overview from outside, but you need to be in there watching and keeping an eye. Otherwise, imagine all the stuff we wouldn't have seen with Alan if we weren't watching and keeping an eye. I've dropped my roach card out. That'll do. No, you need to be watching and keeping an eye. And I don't know what's going on with Santos.
But it didn't stop.
Eat chips.
Having a good time. If you're looking for a good time. Queen Elizabeth. She looked like a bit of a Huguenot, but let's not hold that
Like, why are we on this now?
against her. Okay. So Toulouse-Lautrec, we know about that.
Obviously, Martin's not done this himself. He's a bit of an Alan. He's obviously found these interesting images of these things happening in paintings, and he's just right. We'll put them in the show. We'll put this in the show. We'll put that in the show. And now we're just random, get stoned, talk random about the things we're looking at. I love it actually in a way.
Like that, because I might get in trouble. So, enunciating's a funny business, isn't it? Have you ever thought about that? You know, like Mary. So she's a virgin, yeah? Does that mean she hasn't had sex yet?
Yes.
Yeah, so it does, doesn't it? Like in the nature of being a fucking virgin. So how did she give birth?
Because God...
Okay, so she got enunciated. Okay. There's an underlying meaning in this, so let's dig that the angel Gabriel turns up. There he is, there with his dress on and his wings. Okay? Let's just say, because he's an archangel, that he's got smooth bits and he's not thinking in their ways. Okay? It's the same token, he enunciates her.
What?
Using his UFO. And then she's pregnant with the Lord psychedelic. I think this is definitely, he turns her onto a couple of shrooms. And then she had a baby shroom. Don't you? So,
no.
Oh, outside of this realm, there's another realm. It's close by. I'll talk about that another date. They're trying to get through. This is how they're trying to get through. They're peeking on us, guys. They know we got stuff. This is a smellometer. They're going, hey, I think they got weed. They got weed. They got weed with right now. Yeah, they're growing weed.
That's making me more paranoid. I don't like that. That's killing the buzz. That's making me paranoid now.
Fuck. Chernobyl. So.
Look, this is not evidence of flat Earth.
Use the flat Earth. Earth's not flat. You're going to fall off the edge. No, you fucking ain't. Yes. Gotcha. Looked at. So, that wasn't me. That slipped out. Okay, I got Tourette's. So, there's back in the day Renaissance artwork.
I get a feeling that Martin's actually a little bit eggy during tonight's show because all I said was I'm here and I didn't reply to any he talked about me. I didn't type anything else in chat. I'm still there. I haven't replied to anything else in chat. I don't know what they said when I said it. I wasn't watching. You see me here live on stream doing this, so I'm here, but they are there. And it feels like he's a little bit extra venom because he feels like I might be watching and ripping him while he's doing it. And obviously he knows that some of this is ridiculous when he's saying it. Like, part of the pantomime is that he does a good job of pantomiming it, but if you've got a dissenter in the audience and you feel their gaze upon you, it makes you feel a bit silly when you're saying the nonsense, doesn't it? You know, you have to be sort of in your own fantasy world in full flow, and having someone breaking the bubble, popping the bubble doesn't work. And even if I'm not there physically saying this is silly, he's going to think, oh, he's watching and saying this is silly, you know?
This is it in the modern day. People actually going out of their way.
Is he all right? One of the tragic things, I shouldn't really, poke this too heavy, but I think Martin lost his wife a while back. Like, you know, I think she died. I think that was sad. So that's been sad for him. I think they might have been divorced, but still, I think that was sad for him. Like, without this, Martin would live quite a mundane life of financial struggle, really. You know, it's a bit like Alan. Without the stuff he's got going on the internet, like, what would Alan's life be? Like, very boring, very quiet, and financially not very stable. Like, so Martin is not all right, no, because without this, he feels like this is his life raft into a better world, and in some way it is. But I think that we could actually help Martin in some way, like by helping him to abandon some. Like, he could actually run quite an interesting, fun show just being Martin, and he doesn't have to lean on the bollocks as much, like the bullshit. And like, he's got a position where he's got enough people watching him that like him, that would probably stick with him if he chose to start stepping away slightly from the bullshit and more into something more wholesome and valuable and, like, you know, of worth and note. Like, a lot of the people see Martin that follow him, you know, the anti whatever they are crew, the flat earth crew, you know, they see him as a bit of a leader, a forward thinker, you know, so maybe he could help them in that way by saying, hey, you know, so now we've decided that the world is flat and whatever, maybe we should put that aside for a bit and we can actually help us to do some good in the world. You know, I see Martin as being able to do something better with his time, basically. And he's in a good position to be able to do that. But I think he feels like he needs to leverage this conspiracy flat earth stuff a bit too much.
Like Renaissance.
Well, that is who and what he has been leveraging and is at the moment. So it might be that if he made a change, not everyone would come with him on that journey. But I think he would make new friends along the journey that would be, you know, he could. But then he's making, the thing is, Martin's in America right now with friends because of the flat earth journey. So who am I to say this? Who am I to say this?
People got far too much time on their hands. This is a hidden technology. This is a technology that keeps your head cool in heat and hot in cool in heat.
No, it's
and
not.
Hot when it's not. Because of the nature of it, insulates air, which you need in a post vapor canopy era. And if you just come up from underground and you're all pasty and white and stuff because you haven't seen the sunlight, because you haven't used your eyes before because you're in the Matrix. And you were in a pod in 1972. Supertramp were playing Crime of the Century, and you knew at that moment that you had been here before. So I know that song. So fucking Supertramp, Crime of the Century. Again, I remember that the last time round. And electric.
So the thing that's hard for me as well, one of the reasons I don't do as much Martin detraction as I used to, is because he turned his shows into these. I mean, he's always been doing this a bit, but like, this goes on. This is his live. He's been on for an hour and a half. Yeah, he's been on for a full hour and a half. Obviously, he did a bit of talking at the start where he's talking to camera, and then he gets the pictures out. A lot like Alan, when Alan gets the video on. When Martin gets into this and the pictures are going, he's just got, like I said, like, he's got thousands of pictures on a thumb drive. He's probably spent all afternoon getting a whole load more. All he has to do is like Google some weird shit, drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. That's in the show. That's in the show. That's in the show. I like that. That's in the show. And like, talk nonsense over it. And he can go on. Like, he can just go on.
It was fucking awesome. It was absolutely awesome. It was like electric chair there. They had the guns from Bonnie and Clyde and stuff. Yeah.
He's on his holidays as well.
Don't apologise for being late. This is not fucking, you know, a regime. Do what the fuck you want.
Can I straighten the picture up? I don't know which bit's not straight.
Hi, FaceTime. Good to see you back. King Marty is... I know. Yes, I'm very important. I got the arcades chair. I'm king of the castle. I have BMX video recorder. King of the castle is me. Okay. My sister, #1 prostitute in Kazakhstan. Strange man, good to see you. And oh, Kathleen, good to see you.
I think that was a Borat joke.
And Jahuti, it's a nice name, Jahuti. Can you change your hate to a C on your shirt? No.
Huntsville.
I am Mohammed. Good to see you.
See how he can have a laugh? Like, could you imagine if Alan had that on and someone had sent him that message? They'd have been banned, they'd have been removed, Like, you see how he can act, like Martin can cultivate a community because he's good at this more than anything else. Like, he's good at spinning stories, but this, taking a comment, responding to it in a decent human way, like being a human being. Like, if it wasn't about, like, I imagine there's loads of conversations he's had in his life that he's able to be personable and human to people, and they've really got on with him up until the point where they've had to argue with him about some nonsense, or he started pushing some nonsense. But other than that bit, like, this is really good. Like, he's good at this.
Mary wins. Yay. Good. It's a good attitude, Mary. Mary wins. It's better than Mary loses.
I'll skip on. Oh, he's doing this again. Sorry, I should have... When he's doing the comments, I should get in then, shouldn't I, and say, hey, you know, doing a good job or something. I don't know. Maybe he's looking out. I mean, he does consistently do his shows like this, but maybe he's looking out for me to say something now, because I said, I am here, and then, like, sort of didn't say anything after that. It's a bit sort of intimidating and looming, isn't it, just to say, I am here, I'm in the house. What I meant to say was, because I'm in a house, I'm literally in the house. Like, he said, who's in the house? And I was going to say, well, I'm in the house, my house. But I just said I'm in the house. Hopefully he'll see this video that we make, because we'll cut this and put it on YouTube, and he seems to be aware of the stuff that we put on YouTube. I did put it all up on Super Choffer, but now I'm going to put this on Battery Exhausted, because I think Martin and his story is much more battery exhausted than Super Choffer, the way my two channels have gone now. Super Choffer being more body language and current affairs / crime analysis. Not really crime, but psychology and certainly body language, psychology, and criminology maybe is a part of that in terms of psychology, and it veers into true crime. Anyway, Super Choffer channel's one thing, and this channel, Battery Exhausted, is another. And I think at the moment Martin just has to sit with the nutters a bit more than he does with the serious people, because
nobody actually looks like that. There's no indentation here on the nose, so they get clear oxygen supply, which is why they can think a lot. And this headdress, yeah, it may be just a textile technology, but the same token, it could be a real technology, you know, like maybe they like holographic faces or something. I don't know. Them things looks like super tech to me. You can see them with the Phoenicians. So here's our tosser Archimedes. I bet that's never been said in the same sentence before. Well, I'm breaking the...
I was going to say, I know what this is. He wanted the funds to do some science projects, and they said, well, I'm not giving you the money. And he said, well, how about I build you a fucking great big lens that can burn ships? And they were like, yeah, go on. And they built this fucking great big lens that could burn ships, and then like mirror and a lens thing. And then they were like, do you want some money for your science?
Matrix for fuck it. Here's that tosser Archimedes on his wall fucking up ships. I've been to Syracuse, and I stood on said wall where Archimedes did that shit. And let me tell you something, guys. It's a really high wall. I'm just saying. So why is this kid eyeballing the dragon and getting laser beams of the dragon? Yeah, the rest parabolics, mirrors, and everything. Yeah, so get it. There's a lot of phonetics in here. There's a bit of alchemy up there.
I think what he is supposed to signify here, even though it's a dragon, is that the laser beams themselves, like the beams from the sun themselves, like the beams, are dangerous and you shouldn't look at them. And so maybe it's just like a little metaphor there, metaphorical little thing. You know, don't shine them in their eyes, because there's a devil up here on the top left doing something, and that was metaphorical again. Like, they didn't actually see the devils in their day-to-day life, but they would paint pictures of devils doing things. Like, this devil is shining something into someone's eye as well. So it seems that just as today, if you get a reflection from the sun and shine it in someone's eye, it can be dangerous. So I think it's just there to sort of highlight the dangers. The devil and the dragon are dangerously shining these things into people's eyes. So be careful, you, human, not to shine things in people's eyes. But I don't think it means there were literally devils and dragons walking around.
Stick a heart on, get a demon's H to look at it. The H and the G make what? Poisonous gas. I don't know. So there's another thing I was thinking about as well. I showed, got me thinking.
Okay. Good one, Martin. I need to stop talking about him now. Like, that's our video now. We've cut that. That's really good. I'm really happy with that. Let's see what Cam's looking like today.
What is the past?
Cam's one of these with 80,000 subscribers like Alan, but 2,000 views on a video. man, is he going out to America? I hate Cam. Cam's one of the worst. I mean, look at this. This is on autodidactic. This is Cam. We'll finish on a little quick look at this, just because it came up in the brain. Look at this. Is that possible? Magnets, electromagnetism creates a circuit, but the magnets have to move. Like, to create the circuits, the magnets have to move, I think. So I don't know if just placing them within the field. I think there's like this is some kind of fake in some way. But it's not even his video. He's just ripped it and uploaded it to his channel. Autodidactic. Well done. Well done. Look, here's another one. Free energy machine. So this is fake. TikTok. It's a TikTok. It's a 3-minute 30 TikTok, look. That's not... You don't get free energy like that. There is in some way a battery hidden in this, in some way. Certainly not buying it. And why is Cam uploading that video to his channel when it's clearly ripped off from somewhere else? He's such a shitbag, isn't he? Let's have a look at his lives. Has he done one recently? I'm in Florida 2 days ago. He's such a shitbag. This guy's...
Hello.
This guy's the creepy worst of them. Like, of these flat earthers. This guy's one of the fucking creepy worst of them. Like, he's got a small... He's like Alan. He's got himself a small little group of, like... He's like Australian Weird Alan. He's got a small little group of harem of women, and he's fucking weird.
Oh, I think I'm live. What's going on here? Sorry,
Listen, if those people had a free energy machine, do you think they'd be in the fucking hovel they were living in, making it out of plastic bottles? They'd be loaded. There's no free energy machine. There's a battery in that, I promise you.
Sick. Lots of weird stuff happening. All right, hello everyone. I'm in Florida. I'm sitting in my hotel room. I've just arrived. Hello, Michelle.
And again, somehow this like rubbish on YouTube pays his way, and I'd find very unhappy with. I'd find it very unsavoury with Cam though. Very strange character.
Hate it. All right, Project Channy, are you here? Are you? You're in Florida. All right. Good, Chris. Good to see you. Hello. About 7 or something like that. So, and then I'm out to, but then I'll be back around the 8th or 9th. I'll come back into, well, I'm still in Florida. I'll come back into East Coast of Florida is Atlantic. Oh, there you go. Yeah, man, but it would be actually September next year.
Obviously not a very good stream because he's out on his holidays, but he deals in all this nonsense, like live from the dome, you know, ancient history is fake and all this stuff, New Age detox, megalithic Malta, like old world Toronto, question the narrative. It's all a load of bollocks. All of it is a load of bollocks. And he's got his little crew. He's Australian though, and he's, I think, trying to set himself up in the woods somewhere with like a little, you know, setup, but very much like he's got Patreon, he's got PayPal, he's got Teespring. You know, he's very much on the grift, very hard, autodidactic, like very much on the grift. I don't like him. Going on about free energy all the time. Just talking a load of shit. Don't like him at all. But that's for another day. I've got games of Dodico pinball to play, haven't I? It's past midnight now. I've got to cut some of those things and get them up onto YouTube as separate episodes. Probably do that tomorrow. Tomorrow I've got to think of something serious to do on Super Chuffer. Maybe I could do Martin Liedtke on Super Chuffer. Like, what do you think about this? Like, I don't know what the rules are now, because I said to myself, like, you know, those streams that man I was looking at, Martin Liedtke, he appeared on my Super Chuffer channel. I was covering all that Flat Earth stuff on the Super Chuffer channel, like debunking Flat Earth videos sort of thing, you know? I saw that as, like, serious because I had a lot of fun doing it, and there was no rules, is there? But, hang on, let me bring this up again. It's a weird thing. Tartaria Uncovered here is a playlist on Super Chuffer, look. And I talked about the Mud Flood Reset, Star Forts, Martin Liedtke, 200 Fabricated Years, The Lost Generation, Confusing World of Martin Liedtke, Tartaria with Michelle Gibson, Fires and Free Energy, It Gets Worse, Tartaria's Missing Time, Conspiracies Wild, There's Cam and Autodidactic, Something's Wrong with History, Star Forts, Autodidactic, Great Reset, Martin and Jade's Arguments, Does the Bible Prove Flat Earth? Spoilers, no. The Dark Side of Martin, when I found him to be a little bit on the wrong side of being racist, a bit like he did today when he did his Mexican impressions. Test the Tartaria and Free Energy is actually quite a good episode. I thought that was what happened right here, is that my sort of reaction content investigation into it came to a good episode where I said, look, I've had enough of them talking about free energy and Tesla. I will explain to you about what Tesla was doing and how far it goes and whether there is any free energy. You know, I did a proper 4-hour episode on how electricity is produced, what it is, what, you know, the full breakdown. This was a good episode, well researched, if you don't mind my saying so. That belongs on the Super Chuffer channel. It's a proper episode. Like Tartaria Roundup, flat down, John Levi might be racist. Tartaria on Twitter, we're looking at the Twitter side of Tartaria. Then Martin Liedtke and Synthetic Warrior. Again, this is human behaviour, but they together were talking on a stream together and they were saying some pretty fucked up stuff, homophobia, so I pulled them up on that. Is space fake? Giants doesn't work, I explained that. Homeschool of the Gods, Chemtrails, Truth of Homeschool. So, like, you know, I'm looking into that on the Super Chuffer channel before all the Nicola Bully stuff, and this stuff doesn't get lots of views. Yeah, it never did. Like, the best thing I did here got 1,000 views, but no one was watching back then, were they? So I wonder if I you know, come back with some Martin Liedtke stuff on Super Chuffer channel, whether it counts as Super Chuffer content, because it is there. That already is all there. But more recently, obviously Thus has been a mainstay of it, but it's been that Nicola Bully stuff kicked off, and I was able to say what I really see is the... Like, I did a lot of other messing about as well. If I scroll down, there's a lot of other messing about, words on stream, playing games even, reacting to the boxing. I did a stream of that. Flying my flight simulator helicopter. You know, I tried all these different things, seeing what would take off and what would settle. And now I realise that the things settle in different places. And Super Chuffer became the place for, especially after Nicola Bully, the more serious... Thus, it's still fun, isn't it? The slightly fun, serious, psychological stuff and the body language reaction. So I don't know if now Martin Liedtke sits in this, or if he belongs on Battery Exhausted. But all those other episodes about Martin Liedtke and that whole backstory, the reason he knows who I am and all that is all down here. Look, it all exists here. You couldn't stand the homeschool lady. The rest was good content. It's just whether it's Super Chuffer content and whether Super Chuffer is this content, if that makes sense. Because it could be. Like this one, Death Gravekeeper Live, that one, Death Coming, Death... I played the Nintendo Switch game for an hour. That doesn't belong on there now. That's not Super Chuffer. That would go on my other channels with gameplay, like probably Super Chuffer for You or something. Like some of this might be more Super Chuffer for You, and some of this might be more... that's Taylor versus Catterall round by round, trying to make an argument for it not being a robbery. Like some of it might be more Battery Exhausted, and some of it might be more somewhere else. But then what am I left with on Super Chuffer? Well, like I said, the slightly more serious stuff then. The Madeleine McCann stuff definitely stays there. That definitely stays there, the Madeleine McCann stuff. Thus, obviously. body language kicked off a bit. Obviously Nicola Bully, but the thing I was doing on the Nicola Bully stuff was body language reaction. So now I'm happy with that. Like Russell Brand was perfect recently, wasn't he? Like that really made sense, the Russell Brand stuff recently. That totally is a Super Chuffer video, makes sense. Philip Schofield, body language and react, that totally made sense. Like if I could just do that, I'm happy with that. So big ups Plague Enjoyer. I look really familiar. You love Phil. I do DSP adjacent, yeah. I'm a cameo on That Being Said podcast sometimes. I talk on that being, I call into the show. And Steve does a podcast with me on Thus. Me and Steve do Thus. Steve of the Dead. That's how that is. I'm just finishing off today anyway, yeah. That's how you know where I'm from. It's a small internet, isn't it? It's a small world. I was just saying that today we were doing a different lolcow. Not a proper lolcow, but a guy that does Flat Earth. And I put a little quick comment on his channel and then he spoke because he's watched all the videos I've made about him. So he was really cool actually. He didn't go off it. He was really cool about it. And we were just talking about the different kinds of content and what we do. What happened was Flat Earth, if you look on Google Trends, Flat Earth died off and it was debunked and stuff. So then they started up a new one, which is that history's a lie and there was a mud flood and everything was dug out of the mud. So they didn't build these buildings in America, these new modern buildings. They didn't build them. They dug them out of the mud in the 1800s. The new world, so to speak, that they speak of was dug out of the mud in the 1800s by new people who were put there, magic. And the reason that this is the case is because Jesus went to heaven, okay, like after he was murdered by the Jews, bad Jews, and he went to heaven. I'm not saying bad Jews, they are. He went to heaven and then he came straight back down, boom, started rule over the earth again. And he was doing that for a while, about a millennium or some shit. Can't remember. The millennial rule of Christ it's called anyway. And then after that, he's gone back up. But we think thousands of years have passed or 1,000 years have passed. It hasn't. The devil has confused us into thinking time has passed, and instead everything was covered in mud and everything was reset. And then we dug it out of mud and made up some fake history, and that's why we believe in all the bollocks we believe in, and instead we should believe that the earth is covered with a dome. It's flat, it is flat. We're getting back to the flat earth, don't worry. The flat earth comes back into it. But now it's not just flat earth because of some, I've got some strange mathematics, but it's flat because God said it's flat, and there's a dome, and we're in a dome, and it's the Matrix, and it's not only the Matrix, but it's also the elites, and it's it's all of them together. So with all that, what happens is they can make a bit of a living on YouTube. Like here's one, this guy's called Autodidactic, and I hate him. They think star forts were designed for free energy, when in fact star forts were designed because they were defensive. I go for lolcows who are on a grift, but on like Darkside Phil's on a very transparent, sad grift, isn't he? I go for this guy and the other Tartarians, but also I go for this other guy called Alan, the armchair detective. To the best of my knowledge, this is going to blow your mind. Alan Vinicum is not a paedophile. Listen, I said he's not a paedophile. I have no direct evidence that Alan Vinicum is a paedophile. I said I've got no evidence that he's a paedophile. I'm not saying Alan Vinicum is a paedophile. Sounds a bit like I'm saying he's a paedophile. To the best of my knowledge, Alan Vinicum is not a paedophile. But if I was in a court of law, I'd get away with saying he's not a paedophile the way I've said it there, wouldn't I? So that's good. Because one of my great finds was he was singing with some kids on Smule, and that really looked really fucking bad for him. But you can see here my content is littered with Alan Vinicum, the armchair detective, a strange man on the internet who inadvertently stole one of my edited videos of an interview for some true crime stuff and was rude to me. And so then I've made his life a misery and he's been banned off YouTube. So he's my own personal lolcow. And I've turned him into a full lolcow as well. I just rebranded him full on, hard. Now he's been branded a lolcow and he's never going to live it down. His whole life has been ruined. Phil's lost his mind. Phil, in the same way as this Alan, right? Alan's a narcissist and Phil's a narcissist. And with Phil, what it is he's constructed a fantasy world that he lives in. And within his own little bubble, as long as the DoorDash keeps coming, you know, bear in mind, I think with Phil, if you had to look in the mirror and say, oh, well, I'm going to go on the internet and beg people for money today, like, it's very shameful. There's a lot of shame involved. You have to feel ashamed of what you are doing. So instead of facing that shame head on, he makes up lies and just pretends that he's like some kind of, you know, meaningful streamer. And, you know, the lies are not just to the audience so that he can have the money, but also to himself so that he doesn't have to look in the mirror. And as long as you can drink gin at the end of your shift and pull some Hogans, like, you're going to be okay. Like, you don't have to look in the mirror. But every now and then there's something that brings things into sharper focus, and when it does, like, he has to drink more gin and pull more Hogans, because fucking hell. And we all hope, I guess, that the money will like with this guy Alan, the lolcows seem to have one or two that support them in a very, like, if they didn't have, like, one or two of these whales that support them disappear and suddenly they're off, they're gone, they've got no, you know, it's a very precarious position. So they dig their claws in deep to the ones that are close. And I think with Phil and with Alan, they both go offline. Like, I think Phil, like with OIC and with 1 Minute Man, I think 1 Minute Man might be some money that he has that he invests into his own business by tipping himself $20. But I think there's some behind the scenes dealings. I don't think it's all just what you see on the stream. I think there's some money coming in behind the scenes that the people who are prepared to pay the most, he would say to them, look, you're paying me quite a lot of money in tips. I've written you an email to explain that you can give it me direct into the bank through a direct debit. And why don't you give me this month? Instead of you worrying about doing the tip, why don't you just put it in my bank automatically every month? Maybe, should we say, like, I don't know, 1,000? Should we say 2,000? 2,000 every month. And, like, you know, the people that agree to this end up signed up behind the scenes to the direct debit system. So on screen we see the tips, and, like, you know, he has got those money issues, but I think behind the scenes there's probably a little more. And you've got Mummy, you know, oh, Mummy, it's been difficult, can you pay for this? Jasper needs this. I don't know, but there's always going to be some people that support them. Yeah, so I think they'll just, like, live in their little bubbles. I should check out Glenn's room. I'll have a look. Yeah, we interviewed we reviewed the Side Scrollers one. That's here as a video. Me and Steve did it. Or was it a live? Did we do it as a live? It's been a while ago now. Like, live would have been fucking insane, but I suppose we did, didn't we? Because we are insane, aren't we? Yeah, the interview there. Me and Steve watched it live. It took 6.5 hours. I did say we'd have to stop to talk about it and pause it, but it did take 6.5 hours in the end. But me and Steve of the Dead watched it and reacted to the interview, yeah, 6 months ago now. God, that seems... 6 months is a long time, or a short time on the internet, isn't it? It's been a real flourishing year for detractors, yeah. And for me as well, like, as a detractor content creator that isn't heavy, like, I was never heavy Dark Side Phil detracting. I did a few bits here and there. I got more into it. Like, I knew about Dark Side Phil since the masturbation. Since he jerked off on stream, I was aware of him. But I think when I was aware of Steve's videos before that being said, and it was him being on that being said that, like, took me into that a bit more. So, like, for some reason I was watching long form psychology videos and Steve sort of came up and I was like, oh, he's talking about that guy that did the masturbation. And then I was like watching that being said, I suppose slightly like, Steve was coming on as a guest sometimes, wasn't he? So maybe he did one guest slot and that's where I discovered that. But, like, I've never been, like, heavy detractor, but in the last year I've been a bit more heavy detracting, mainly on the Alan front, as you can see. A lot of Alan, but Alan's been really good for me. Like, not only have I got a personal vendetta against the man, but he's such a fucking klutz. Like, he's such an idiot. At one point he said, Alan, at one point in this episode called Busted, he says that he's been searching the internet for child.
I wanted to know if Bundy was right.
He says this. Oh, the cat needs to come in. It is the... He says, thank you for money. There's no child porn on the internet.
There is no child porn on the internet. I hate it.
Whoa. There is no child porn. I'm going to have to say the words. We're going to get demonetized, whatever. There's no child porn on the internet, Alan says, because he checked. Coffee's Mimps, thank you. This is definitely not going to get monetarised with all this... like, the dark edge of it all. Like, I saw this... Well, gonna.
Bye.
So what's Alan doing on? I just had to skip through that trying to find the bit where he says it. But what's Alan doing, searching for child porn on the internet? And what's he doing? There it is. Look, yeah.
I've never been arrested. They've checked my computer. I've done nothing wrong. There is no child porn on the internet. I hate to warn you that. There is no child porn on the internet. I checked.
I'm on the internet.
I wanted to know if Bundy was right.
So how dare you go on the internet and say, the police have checked my computer and also there's no child porn on the internet, I checked. How do you check? What do you do? Presumably you Google it and then you search for it and then you either find it or you don't, I suppose. What happens if you checked and there what happens if it turned out there was child porn on the internet? Would you then have found it? Is that what you're saying? Like, what is going on? So the beauty of Alan is he's got like this dirty, like you know how Phil, right? You know how with Phil, if I said to someone, there's a guy on the internet, he's called Dark Side Phil and he plays computer games, right? That's just the surface, isn't it, of the iceberg. And then the next level is like, you know, he's got gout and he grifts for money and he thought he was amazing at Street Fighter, but he only really placed fourth once in a bit of an obscure bracket of Super Turbo. Anyway, look, like there's that, and then the iceberg goes down even further, where like you know, by the time you get to the bottom, like you're talking about ants and ant poison, and Jasper not getting the vet's attention that he deserves, and Cat maybe crying downstairs or maybe dead. Like you know, like you've got like this other layer. With Alan, the iceberg goes the same. So at first you think he's this man on the internet who's talking about true crime. But really, he used to be a professional poker player, but that didn't go so well. And he had a restaurant that he got banned for tax avoidance from owning a business, so that went down the pan. But during that time, the restaurant inspector came in, a TV show, and exposed him for being a crook on TV, which is a big thing, really, but he seems to laugh it off. And then in his past before that, there's question marks about him and his sexual behaviour. He's done some really weird shit through, like he talks weird shit in his shows all the time, and like we pull it out, and then through us reacting to him, he started getting really eggy about us, and he was like talking about me, and he started giving me names like I'm the battery boy, and he could get me all these funny names, and then he started getting eggy about me, and then he got really eggy, and then I made that video saying that he was maybe a paedophile because of this, right? You'll like this is good. So we were watching, he had an app for karaoke. Alan had this karaoke app.
He's a ghost. He's a guru. As a whisper in his name.
So this is good.
Shut me up.
Like, imagine Phil was doing karaoke songs on an app. Like, that would be funny, wouldn't it? Like, that would be good. And then imagine that Phil was doing karaoke songs with children.
Once I was 7 years old.
Imagine that. Imagine Phil was doing karaoke songs with children, doing a derrish of his very own. So that was a great find. I found that live on stream, and wow. So then I made a video about it, and Alan went fucking mental. And then I started talking about his daughter a little bit, and he went even more mental. So imagine Phil, but you can make a video about him, and he will watch it and go mental. And also, he's done this. So, like, you know, I found our journey, like, it's a beautiful journey. And on YouTube, I'm super chuffer, but I'm also battery exhausted. And the battery exhausted bit, to the best of my knowledge, Alan Vinicum is not a paedophile. Yeah, okay. It's got a playlist of Angry Alan, the saga. And I'll put it in chat now so you can go from the start and just, like, there's hours of it. There's hours of it, right? There is hours of it, but there's so much, like, and it was so joyous, the whole journey. And then he got banned off YouTube. I think, like, people have been trying to get him banned. Oh, it goes back further. Did I tell you he's getting sued by the family of the murder victims of a horrible crime? Because he kept making videos about this murder victims, the Chris Watts case. So he's being sued for defamation. So that's bad for him. But yeah, eventually he got kicked off YouTube quite recently. And it could have been because he called me rude names and I reported him. Or it could have been all sorts of things because he's such a fucking bad chuffer. But look, there's all this content about him being a bad chuffer. And he is a bad chuffer. He's caused... we've grown a community just like with Darkside Phil. We've grown our own sort of Alan community. So it's not just me. There are lots of other people that have been making videos. Oh, the Thailand pics, yeah. You want to see the Thailand pics. Where are they? Alan was pictured in Thailand with a person of non-specific gender in his arms. They weren't wearing all their clothes, but he was definitely holding them in his arms in a bar. So he's been on a nice holiday. He's had a nice holiday. Hard drives and hostages. It gets dark, doesn't it? Yeah. And we've dug around and we found some stuff out, and it's huge. So I can't do the whole iceberg now, but it's all there. It's one of my proudest moments in my YouTube journey. 6 months of bullying an old man on the internet until he had an eventual breakdown and got himself deleted off the internet. He's now on Rumble, but things aren't going well for him because he's buying views and talking shit. So we don't really care that much. We're happy with that. I think I've got a touch, right? I'll tell you what it is. I've got a nice, clever, like with Phil, and I suppose with Wings people, like, you can interact with him a bit. They do interact. With Phil will not interact with the detractors. Like, Phil will not interact. But I've got a way of finding people on the internet that will react and interact, both positively and negatively. Like Martin Liedtke, the other one, the Flat Earth man, he reacted in a much more positive way. And it might be that we're going to do a stream together in the future, like having a chat. We could do that. But with this, like, oh yeah, Alan's also a grifter. He also really wants the money. I forgot to say, just like Darkside Phil, Alan really wants the money. He's a huge narcissist, and these people are paying his bills. Oh yeah, he called me son. You're right. He uploaded a video, and when he had to respond in retract, oh, sorry that I stole your edit. Sorry I stole your edit, son. But it wasn't really your edit, was it, son? Because you would just edit it off something else, didn't you, son? Yeah, he called me son a lot. And now I'm his daddy. So it's gone really well. I put my willy in his mouth as well, and he won't stop talking about it. On the green screen, I put my willy in his mouth. On the green screen. You didn't see my willy. I had my back to you, like this, look. I did this. Like that. With a picture of him. And that's never stopped. He still talks about that to this day. The willy in his mouth. He still talks about that. Cobes, yeah, I'm a big fan of Detractor Beam. Detractor Beam are my friends, and so is the Decepticon. So, the Decepticon does Circle of Protection, don't they? The Decepticon, mate. I've been on the Decepticon with there's Cobes. Circle of Protection with Indrid. I've been on with Cobes. I've been detracting Cobes with these chuffers, and I've been on Detractor Beam before, and they come on a show with me sometimes as well. Like, come on my stream sometimes.
He's just like adding things on like he's ordering a sandwich. It's just crazy. But he uses that as an excuse for his actions.
Like, we love a bit of detracting. The way I see it, like I said, like, Cobes is interesting, but he's not such a hard grifter. But I like holding people to account on the internet who are doing bad things and preying on the vulnerable. And like, mainly the ones I go after are the ones that prey on the vulnerable. That's like the main thing that gets my backup with it. Like, if Alan stole my content and was just a dickhead, that would have been fine. But, like, you know, I'd have done my little bit and then moved on. But with Alan being such a grifter, like, and getting his claws into people, and, like, you know, he gets people giving him the super chats and that for disgusting plagiarism, and, you know, his content's really bad. And yeah, I just think, you know, being a horrible grifter is horrible. So, and there's no, like, grift police. There used to be iDubbbz doing content cop and, you know, stuff like that. But grift police is like, you know, there's a whole load of people on YouTube using YouTube. YouTube is a fantastic resource. Like Twitch, we're here today. Like, you know, it's a fantastic thing. I'm really grateful for the subscriptions and all that business. But like, some people seem to get the wrong, like, they get, like, I suppose it's just human behaviour, isn't it? Like, it doesn't matter where, like, if you're on the market, you'll get some people doing good value products for a good price, and you'll get other people trying to rip you off. Like, but there are some people who seem to think that YouTube is their own personal cash machine, and that it gives them access to people so you can manipulate. That's the word, manipulate people. And Darkside Phil is a manipulator, and Alan's a manipulator, and I think to some extent Martin Liedtke and the Flat Earthers are manipulators. So it's that manipulation that stands out, and I don't think there is any social policing of it. Really, the social policing goes on on the internet. Like Cobes, yeah, exactly, he's really funny. He's not such a bad piece of shit. Like there are some of them that you could, I think with Cobes and with Martin Liedtke, not with Alan and not really with Phil, but with some of them, you could actually have like the detractors that are talking about them and them could be on the show together having a chat, and it could be funny as fuck. Even though opposing views, like, it could still be funny as fuck. But with Phil, he wouldn't hack, like he couldn't play the game, he wouldn't be able to hack it. Like even that interview with Adam and Side Scrollers, that even though that was sort of contentious, Phil thought he was amongst safe, like he thought he was amongst peers, but he still couldn't even hack that properly, like the social interaction element of it. But with Cobes or someone, they could, and with some of the flat earthers as well, even though there'd be a little bit of debunking and a little bit of poo-pooing, like overall there'd be a lot of laughs and a bit of like weirdness goes on as well. And that's just all good entertaining fun on YouTube. So like some of it's not so offensive, but it's when they start getting into people and like Phil is a bit of a mess, yeah. Phil is a mess. And he's always been like that though. He's always been, I think, because when you look back at him in the Street Fighter years, you're looking at a young person who feels scared of the rest of the world. Like he's fairly tall, but there's a video of Phil, am I going to be able to find this quick? DSP, Phil Burnell, fast food, in, I'll just put fast, well if I put fast food there's going to be too much of it. There's a video of him inside, he's in a restaurant, fast food restaurant, inside restaurant, I don't know where it'd be, or like, you know, there's so much, isn't there, of, you know, of Phil on the internet. How am I going to find this? But he's young and he's collecting his food and he's walking over to his table and he looks down and away and like he's kind of like shy of looking eye to eye contact with people. And I think in the world he's been growing up in, there's been bigger boys, scarier people. Like it is America, like, and I'm specifically going to say this, like I'm not racist, but maybe Phil is a bit, because I think he's scared of bigger black people, to be honest. And like going in the restaurant and keeping his eyes down and like not looking at them, I think he was scared of like social, you know, bigger social scary people, and so he likes to say, like, he lives in that gated community, he likes a sense of safety, not just from the trolls but as a like personal safety. I think he's quite of a scared person. I think he sees himself as quite fragile, and you know what I mean, like that's part of where this narcissistic ego self-flagellation comes from. That's why he sits in this little room surrounded by his little toys, like making his life feel nice inside the gates, because he's a scared little boy deep down. And like going to Street Fighter tournaments and stuff like that, right, in there you can King of Hate, interact, throw your weight around, but remember when it came to a fight in the car park and Jaha was there, Phil cried and said he was an alcoholic. Like he wasn't prepared to at least even have the fight. Like you might get a punch, but Jaha's not going to murder you. He's not going to literally break your head off in the car park. Like he would like punch you to the ground, and like, you know, once you were on the ground and said, like, someone would say that's enough, you would hope, because there's like other people around, even though they hate you, someone would say that's enough. Like you have to, in that situation, I'm not condoning violence, but I think in the Phil shoes, you have to say, all right, fuck it, I've cruised this far. I've cruised, now it's time to get bruised, you know what I mean? I've cruised this far, it hasn't worked out, I'm gonna have to try and hit Jaha in the face and hope to Christ that I get there first. Like, you know, it's gonna go badly, but do you know what I mean? You have to sort of face it up. Phil never would, he never did, he was always the scared little boy. And so I think it's this sort of failure to launch, failure to grow up, scared of the world, went in all the same safe spaces, like through university safe space, isn't it? It's university, campus, you know, I doubt he went off campus very much into many adventures. From there, the helicopter company, safe space with his dad getting him a job at a safe little company. Within the Street Fighter world, you have all these arguments with people over Street Fighter, but you know, you're big man in a fucking arcade playing arcade games. You're not on the streets where people might actually push you up, you know, remonstrate, threaten you. You're not in bars, you're not in, like, you know, nightclubs, you're not, like, do you know what I mean? It's not like such a threatening world in an arcade, is it? So It felt like a sort of, as much as I respect the fighting game community and everything, it felt like for Phil, it was a safe space more than anything. And he could explore his personality and stuff within that safe space. But if he'd have tried to do that in a more grown-up space, in a more grown-up social space, maybe, I think he would have felt scared and threatened. Russell content, yeah. I think Russell Brand, basically, I did body language reads on him. I think he's scared. I didn't look into it enough to really understand the allegations, even though I said I was going to. So I don't really have an opinion because I haven't looked into it to have an opinion. But I think he's scared. I think he's maybe just saying what he needs to over the last few months and continuing to get as much money as possible. I don't know if he really believes in all this politics he talks, but definitely he's really worried at the moment. Odd the timing of it all. There are coincidences, like in life, you know, some things are timed and coincidental, and then it's hard to understand because, like, is it or isn't it? I think he's not the best example of why, because you're saying about the timing, yeah, like the timing in terms of the bill being passed and stuff like that, and like, but I don't know if he's the best example of it to be. I don't know. Saying set up, right? There's two ways. Like, I would agree in some aspects he's being set up, but there was like a lengthy police investigation, so that's the setup in some ways. A lengthy police investigation. You don't see it. You don't know. Like, none of us really know. I don't know what was in that setup. But when it all comes out in the way it looks like a bit like it's been set up. But then people have, like, when they pull the trigger on that, when they decide to go public, they will have they will have thought out an action plan, won't they? Because of the way these things are going. So it won't have all been completely random. So it will feel a bit like laid out for you because it's been deliberately planned and laid out to come out in small bursts and then bigger bursts, and then the police investigation is going, and then there's more investigation happening, and and then Russell is able to command the narrative because who are you listening to about this? Who are you talking to? There's the people that are investigating and the Dispatches documentary, and then there's this news report, and it's a little bit diffuse. Yeah, the Dispatches documentary would probably be the main thing, but that's not the police investigation, so it's a bit diffuse what you learn. But then with Russell, you've got a very clear, like, Russell understands that question the narrative for the people that sell the narrative to the people, including Russell, is you get them to question the narrative and then you feed them a new one and can I have your money please? So a bit like Darkside Phil and these people on the internet, Russell, like, when you strip it back and ignore the politics and forget whether he's a sex offender and any of that, like, just take all that away. A lot of times people say follow the money. Russell gets his money from sitting on the internet and convincing people to ignore the mainstream narrative and instead to follow his narrative. Now with Darkside Phil, he won't let you believe in the gaming industry. You're not allowed to watch the gaming industry. The gaming media can't tell you about games. They're shills and they just don't even play. They don't have time to play the game properly. They're not an authentic gamer, which is why you should abandon the mainstream gaming media. They're not for you. Darkside Phil is for you. Give him your money instead. He will play the game authentically and you can get a proper read on the game. And he will give you a better opinion than the mainstream gaming media, who are shills, aren't they? That's Darkside Phil's, like. So in the same way, Russell Brand wants your money and he's creating a narrative for you. And it's nice to hear narratives and stories on the internet. They are nice. They're fun. Like, if you're a good storyteller and you can do that as content, it's almost like being a Pied Piper in some ways. Some people commented in chat when I was doing the read on him. Yeah, so I think when I strip it all back, Russell, like, whether he is or isn't all these other things, he is that. Like, that is what he is. And I'm in some way that as well, aren't I? Like, I'm on the internet, I'm talking, I hope people find value in what I say so I can create and move on forward and create and, you know, get support. But it's all, then when you have to look into is the, you know, what they're saying, like, I don't know. The other point here is Russell Brand a threat to the mainstream? Like, no, because he's on YouTube broadcasting his message. So if they really want him off, they could just switch him off overnight in a second without complaining. They could just say, sorry, Russell, your account is terminated. We're the mainstream, fuck you. Here's a different option. when he got going, they would have said, hang on, this is a major threat to the mainstream. Why don't we shut him down now before he gets going, right? Along the way, they've had multiple they've had multiple opportunities to shut him down. Instead, Russell Brand has been invited into the mainstream, being given the microphone by the mainstream, asked to present Big Brother by the mainstream and be in the films with the mainstream, and he lives in the nice house in Notting Hill with the mainstream, and like, you know, he's on the news with the mainstream, and then like, now he's not in the mainstream, he's got his own platform, because rather than being part of their dance and earning money through their system, he's realised he can go independent and take a bigger cut of the money and go like on his own and talk about things. And he's always been writing books and doing things and projects and capitalism and making money. But I'm to believe that in some way he's like being taken down by the mainstream, and it's important at this very opportune moment that he should be like taken. Like, have they not got better things to do than worry about what Russell Brand's saying on YouTube? Because YouTube seems pretty fucking mainstream to me, and like the stuff he's saying like has not changed, like it's not caused a social riot. He's been saying it for years. Like and if you want to shut him down, like you can literally just switch him off at the press of a button with no explanation. So I don't know if there is some sort of clandestine Illuminati bid to take down Russell Brand. I think what's more likely is that a brewing feeling of discontent has led to because he got binned off BBC for doing that sex joke about Manuel's, like he was on the radio and he did a bad poor taste joke about some actor's daughter, a bit like me when I talk about Alan's daughter, but Russell Brand did a bad sex taste joke about Alan's daughter about some actor's daughter, and him and Jonathan Ross got binned off the BBC. It was like a scandal. Oh, he got binned off. But until then, he was like the darling bud of the BBC. So he didn't get himself binned off for his anti-mainstream agenda. He got himself binned off for doing sex things on the radio. And then later on, like with that brewing feeling of discontent, other people may have now come forward. A police investigation got started, which led to further findings, and the water has broken. I suppose if you're sitting there with this dossier and this document, just like when I did my video on Alan, I sat on it for 3 weeks and released it at the opportune moment, like the best moment, to make sure as many eyes were on it as possible and to cause as much disruption for Alan as possible. So at that point, you might say this starts to become a setup, because at that point, the high ups at the police are working with some high up people in the Channel 4 news office or whatever. They've got a documentary they're doing on Russell Brand, and they're doing it about the victims of these crimes who are working with the police. And so there's like this, oh, now it's a conspiracy against Russell. Well, it's like that they work together to publicise it in an organised way, I would say, probably. He's doing a lot of worrying at the moment because of some of the I haven't, again, without me looking deeply into the allegations, I've got no idea about those things specifically, but he's looking pretty worried about it all. I think mainly though, I'm worried that his financial, like he's lucky that a lot of people have backed him quickly on locals and whatever on Rumble, because now he's got that money in the bank essentially, and he doesn't have to lose his house. But overnight he lost all his sponsorship, all his house, all his he's not getting, none of these people who are really rich are sitting on like bank money that they, like the houses in London are expensive and you still have a mortgage and stuff like that, I expect. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if they buy everything outright, so I think he would probably have some bills to pay and some worries. So like everyone, was a bit worried when everything suddenly got cut off overnight. I think that was his main worry, and then the follow-up worry is what's going to happen with all this stuff. I don't know about that, Sick Willy Deeg. I don't know about that, but yeah, it seems, I've said all that now, haven't I? I think the main thing about Russell Brand that stands out for me is I don't think you can decry the mainstream and hold yourself up as a sort of anti-agenda Jesus, because although you were talking quite interesting alternative ideas through your path, that path has been trodden in the main on the mainstream. And until you were disgraced and thrown off the BBC, there you would have stayed. So, yeah. Like, of course you're going to talk against them now because you're not allowed to be on their telly because you got thrown off. Yeah. That's my take on it. It might not be correct 'cause I don't know the man. I don't know what's going on really behind the scenes, do I, or anything. Just aware of him being on the telly for a bit, and no, I know what he said in his stand-up. I knew he had a sort of, you know, sexualized attitude in his past, oversexed or whatever. And I knew that he did all the cinema films, and when you do that and you get to go and have sex with all the cinema famous ladies, and you're having sex with Katie Price, and like, you know, that's all going on. You know, he's like one step away from Epstein Island now, isn't he? I'm only joking, but you know what I mean. I imagined he had quite a sordid and lurid, exciting life. Like, good on him. Good on him as long as he's not done any sex crimes. But you know, this is where I think there's the grey area, isn't there? Because everyone knows he's a sex fiend. So, like, being a sex fiend isn't being a sex offender. And like, is there a grey area? And like, what do I know about it? Well, I've got no knowledge of it because I didn't see him do sex with anyone. So, I'll keep open-minded, but things don't look good. Yeah. I don't know how Russell Brand being a sex offender really helps the mainstream, really, anyway. I don't know how it really helps, like, you know, the Conservatives hold us down in society. They're doing quite a good job of that without Russell Brand. Like, I don't think it matters with Russell Brand. Like, we're getting fucked over quite hard anyway. He's alright, Russell Brand. He's still on his rumble. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? With some of these characters, like the shirt thing, right? You give him another 20 years, and if he doesn't mellow, then Russell Brand starts looking like Jimmy Savile, pretty fucking sharpish. Do you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff I said about him being a young, saucy devil, you know, getting up to all the wonderful sex with all the, you know, sex parties and all that. You knock another 40 years on him and he's fucking Jimmy Savile. Like, it's weird. At least that's the only thing I don't think Darkseid Phil's into. There was a conversation about Phil being... the reason he tolerates Derish is because Derish has given him some dirty porn, and like Derish feeds him dirty porn through the channels, you know, through the back channels, and because Derish is obviously into dirty porn, and that's why Phil tolerates him, and that Phil is therefore into dirty porn. But I don't believe that. I think, get this, my theory about this is that the reason Phil tolerates Derish is because when Phil was young, Phil wanted to lose his virginity. And he didn't have many options or opportunities, but whatever came along he thought he would take. And lo and behold, when a certain Asian cleaner was employed by the family, maybe one summer, to clean up around the house, Phil had a little affair with a little Asian, slightly older Asian lady, maybe. Maybe she popped his cherry for him, showed him the way while she was polishing around, polished his knob, and then Derish came out, and so Phil has fathered an illegitimate... This is a cool lore theory. It's like a fan fiction. I should write it for the That Being Said competition. I'm going to be too late for that, aren't I? I've got too much content to rabbit on and make myself, but... so Derish pops out, and then you've got like half Phil, half Asian lady baby, and that's Derish to a T. And then they have to say, right, he's got to move away now because like Phil's had an illegitimate child, and they move to Canada. And the reason that Phil to this day has to grift hard on the internet is because he's got to pay this child maintenance for Derish, who lives with his mom in Canada, and and Derish comes to the streams to hang out with his dad. That's a cool story, isn't it? That's a cool idea. You never know. Might just be a story. Might just be a flat Earth story. You never know. But yeah. All right, it's 1:30 in the morning now, so I'm going to knock it on the head. It's nice to meet a new person, Plague Enjoyer, and it's nice that because like I really think that detracting content is not. I think from an outsider perspective, someone might say, oh, you're a detractor, you bully those people on the internet. But I actually think it's the good people who see the bad in these people and are offended by it. So the detractors are actually a community of good people, and that it's kind of strange the way that people think they're bullies and nasty people, because they're not really. I think actually in the main, the reason that they're offended by this is because they've got good hearts. So Russell has Moon and Mars in Aries, the same as Alan. Yeah, but Alan's not like a sex impresario. Like Alan's not good at getting women and having sex with them. He's good at giving women Hypnol and then having sex with them. I won't say anything bad about Wings. I won't say anything bad about the Wings people myself. I'll just stay well the fuck away. I think they're all nice, from what I've heard. What about his early days regarding Alan? What I found out was that Alan, Weston-super-Mare area, fancied himself as a bit of a DJ. At one point went to America in his younger years. Fancied himself as a sort of club DJ. But this is not like club DJ like we think, you know, with the headphones. This is like, you know, Jimmy Savile years, talking on a microphone, playing records, Radio 1 DJ, you know, like old school back in the day, club DJ. Like he fancied himself as a bit of that. And there's two notable rumours, one of which is that he was DJing at a club and he for some reason wore some sort of leotard or something like that, and everyone took the piss out of him, and the power went down and he couldn't play his records and he cried. So crying leotard Alan was a rumour I heard. And then the other rumour I heard is that he was running a bar in Bristol and there were some young waitresses, about 14, that worked there, and he did a lock-in at the end of the evening and locked them in, and then they were scared because they were locked in, so they escaped. Because, yeah. So that's a rumour I heard as well. But he confirmed that one by saying it himself on his channel, so that one's true. Big ups, Plague Enjoyer. Thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you. Thank you for the Prime sub. That's awesome. Subscribed with Prime. Thank you, Plague Enjoyer. A wedding DJ. Maybe a wedding DJ, but no, like more like a club DJ, like you know, bars and like late night. I don't know how to explain it. Like it was a different era then, so club DJing wasn't what it is today. It was more talking on a microphone and playing different records one after the other, and like being a personality, so to speak, in a way, like a big smile and a big, like Jimmy Savile sort of. I'm sure Alan would have fancied himself for that. And then I don't know what he did when he went to America. Like, but I heard he went to America after being basically disgraced and shamed in his hometown to the point where it wasn't working out, and tried to turn his hand to being a club DJ in America. I don't know what happened, but that's the early years that I heard. The hostage situation, hospital radio. I don't know what his early family life was like. You know, he seems to have had an interesting relationship with his mother in some way. He doesn't mention his dad a lot. And he was known in his local area, let's say that, in Weston-super-Mare. Like, people of that area would recognise the name, and like, if you grew up in that area around the same sort of time, you know, you would have heard of this man who's a bit of a local goon. So he had that, what you'd call notoriety or infamy, maybe back then. Maybe that provoked his narcissism as well in some way. But he was, yeah, he wanted himself to be a DJ, he fancied himself to be a DJ, like Noel Edmonds. I mean, you're talking 60s or 70s, aren't you? You know, those years. Big up Seaman Stains. Early life was hard for Alan's family as they all had to chip in for his poker tournaments. Yeah, I don't think he took that up till later. Like, I think Alan's been a chameleonic sort of person that has had to say, this isn't working, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to become someone else. From now on, I'm a restaurateur. Or I think he did the poker and won money to put into the restaurants. There is also, and I want to be careful what I say here, because I need to be careful what I say here, but there is also some other stuff that I heard behind the scenes. Basically concerning like a criminal gang in the area that he used to live in, that were, they themselves had notoriety, and Alan may have had some interaction with them. And my feeling on it is that he's not high up in their criminal gang, let's say that, but you know, maybe they've got their hook into him in a little way. but definitely some, you know, Alan is a dodgy type who has done dodgy behind the back dealings and stuff like that. He's never been an upfront kind of honest chap. So he's not connected. Like you would say about someone, if they were connected, you say, oh, careful, they're connected. Yeah. Like meaning they can draw on the force of the mafia. Alan's not that, not connected, but he's got connections with, which is a better way of saying, like, you know, some sort of bad group of chuffers. I'll say that. But that's like, you know, like there's at some point the iceberg just drifts off into murky waters and it's hard to know. So, you know, it goes from rumours to, like, I won't deal with anything beyond like a proper substantiated. When I say substantiated rumour, if I've heard this from more than one person independently with like very little in between them, I'd say, okay, that sounds like a decent rumour. I haven't broadcast this on YouTube. I'm not going to make this what we're saying now into a YouTube bit. You know, this is just between us. So, my personal feeling on it, if I were to be really brutal about it, is I think at some point, through brush with criminal people, maybe getting some dodgy booze or, you know, doing some dodgy deal somewhere, he's come across as trying to be the big dude, trying to kind of be the big brush dude, and like he might have played poker with them or done some gambling with them. You know, you can do gambling with crime people, can't you? Like, you know, they do gambling on the side, different you know, maybe he's got himself into a poker situation and they've cheated him maybe, and he's lost a lot of money to them, and then he's got to sort of do a little job for them, you know, that sort of business. It could be that. That's not a 100% of that, isn't. That's like a, you know, a dart in a dartboard, that is. But that narrative seems like it would fit the different sort of things I've heard. But in some way he seems to have this sort of connection, let's just say that, and I won't say who with. But yeah, probably sold vodka that makes you blind or something like that. He's definitely, you know, in his local area, if you wanted to do dodgy shit, you would know this dodgy group of people, I guess, because it's not a huge area. So that the other group of people seem to be quite successful as well. They're not Allens, like they're not, like they're actually, like, you know, they've got property and like legit businesses amongst their list of other illegitimate businesses. And like I did a bit of digging, but like who am I to start exposing fucking, you know, crime families on the internet? No thanks. Like, unless it's concerning Alan, I thought I'd just leave that far. I wouldn't, like, you know, I don't want to end up with concrete shoes in the river, do I? But yeah, and I don't think Alan these days is that directly involved, unless the only other thing is that human trafficking thing, that child trafficking. Like, he lives in Exmouth, which is right down on the seafront, and these days drugs come in through that way through the country. So it could be that there's some drug trafficking going on, you know, and it could also be there's some child trafficking going on for legits. But I think now, being an old man that he is, I don't think he's going to be as hands-on. And his son doesn't make YouTube videos calling me names, so I don't necessarily have to do extensive investigation on his son either, do I? But I think I've already said too much. I think I've already said enough that today's episode has to get put just for subs only. And let's just say that. It's a weird old world. I mean, none of that I've just said is fact. They're just like, you know, I've told you a few rumours on the grapevine that I've heard behind the scenes. It's just Alan's got a dodgy, dark past. Like the bit about the poker game that he lost the money in, that's me making that up. That's my, you know, putting two together and making five. But the other whispers are, like I said, they're just things people have told me. They're not like nailed on facts either. But yeah. Night, Jess. Yeah, it's time for no nights now. It's 1:30 in the morning. I've done a lot of talking. Can we check out Scottish song for? Well, can we check out Scottish slang for vag? I think we might get thrown off the YouTube if I just then. I think there is a limit. asking you all to do film posters with willies in mouths is probably pushing it. And if we get banned for making a load of film posters with willies in mouths, then I'm going to have to call it Willygate and try and fight it. It's not that bad. Is it a YouTube video? Now look, I'm searching YouTube for this. Is it this?
Cunt, lady garden, meat sleeve, vagina, clunge, fanny, your gash, beef curtains, pish flaps, your vag, badly packed kebab, meat wallet, axe wound, snatch, clam, penis fly trap, stench trench, french fry drip, bearded oyster, soggy box, baby cannon, cock socket, mum's glove box, tampon tunnel, a pink taco,
A pink taco?
juice box, fat goo, meat flap, your front bottom, kitty, foo-foo, a wizard's sleeve, muff, sugar notch, beaver, pink
Sugar notch. Do you know what? I don't think I could say any of these to a woman with a straight face and expect to be able to get anywhere near it.
panther, velvet glove,
And why
the
is she,
notorious V.
Also, why is she so cross about those? The Pink Panther! The notorious VIG! Like, why is she so fucking angry?
E-A-G, your fuckhole, a wee furbug,
You're fuckhole!
and my fucking
She's laughing on that one. She broke character on that one.
G, your fuckhole, a wee furbugger, and my fucking favourite, a sausage wallet.
Is that what you wanted? That's what you wanted, you chuffer. That's what you wanted. You got what you wanted now. Now you got what you wanted. So, don't say I never give you anything.